in the morning. You got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening. Wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again. Argue about everything, you are my darling. This kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day. I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay. We just gotta boom, bada boom, ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
They Trickin Yall. They Trickin Yall.
Come under a ton of scrutiny from men and especially from women. But one of the things that I did not recognize was that while passport bros are being accused of being just belligerent, degenerate, leftover sex tourists, not only are these women doing the same thing, they're probably doing it so much more.
There was a book by Bianca C. Williams called The Pursuit of Happiness. The way I found out about it is because they're using this book.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men, black women is concerned, is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No.
I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation to create some protections for the women who are brought here by the passport bros, actually. Because genuine love and connection, okay, whatever. I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation to create some protections for the women who are brought here by the passport bros, actually. Because genuine love and connection, okay, whatever. I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation.
Hello, it is me, an ambassador for the bad bitches, and I would like to formally announce that we all collectively believe that the passport bros are whack. You gotta leave the country for cooch.
Damn, triple homicide.
Yikes. Ew. You thought that was cute? Now here, I'm gonna offer some suggestions. Bitches in the States don't wanna fuck you because the inside of you is terrible. Bitches on the outside of the States also don't wanna fuck you because your inside is terrible. You possessing a passport does not grant you access to human bodies, thus perpetuating your whackness. All right, King, enjoy your flight. I heard JetBlue's having a sale. Don't get robbed, or do, I don't really care.
I'm a passport boy.
They Trickin Yall. They Trickin Yall.
I'll get a woman's take on all of this. Shamika, let's start with just a general question. Have you heard of the passport bros? And what do you think of them?
Yes, I have heard of them recently. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I think that men have been doing this for years. If you ask me, black men are late to the party. When you look at white men who have been doing well in life, a lot of them have married foreign women. You can just look at Donald Trump himself. He had Ivanka and he had Melania, and I'm not sure about that one in the middle, but white men have been doing this for a long time. So I think black men are just now coming up on it. And it shows that there are a lot of people just plain sick of feminism, period, across the board. So I have no issue with black men deciding that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because what I think is that black women, they saw this happening, but they never thought it could happen to them.
Okay, so a comment on my video sent me down a rabbit hole I don't ever want to go down again. Passport bros are real. There's this group of like 7 black men on TikTok with like passports and saying they're going to other countries to find more submissive women. No. Do they not know they're gonna be black everywhere they go? Like an African American everywhere they go? Wait, where are these other countries? Are they going anywhere in Europe? Probably not. Oh, they're manosphere bros, which means they are strategically picking countries that are stereotyped for having very relaxed, if any, rules around these two things. So they're going to other countries not to find submissive wives, but to find women and girls that they... Yeah, nah. Don't... This is real, bro. What?
Today, let's talk about passport bros. It's a growing movement of black men who shop for wives and girlfriends in foreign countries. They do it because the American black woman has abandoned traditional marriage values and roles. Fearless is coming in hot tonight. Grab your popcorn.
Why are men with passports hated so much? Could it be that some of these men are going through what I call a pirate passport psychosis? Men should be honored when other men are living their lives on their own terms, free of distress. But could it be unresolved issues related to mental illness? Join me tonight as we talk about the potential outcomes of what's called passport psychosis. Be well.
Bros, like they're getting women from like the DR, Colombia,
Yes.
The Philippines, Thailand.
First of all, y'all not be talking shit about my culture, my Filipino people, and my country. I know we're intelligent. We speak English and Tagalog. And as far as I know, I'm talking in English right now. I never grew up here in the United States, but I adapt. Also, when you go to hospitals, you see bunches of Filipino nurses. When you call customer service, you speak to Filipino people. And we are caring, we are loving, we are hard workers, we are fast learners, we are hospitable. I'll say that one more time. We are educated. We are respectful. We love to cook. We love to eat. And hold on, before you say that we don't speak English, try to say ask instead of ax, okay?
This comment is so spot on. And for those that don't know what passport bros are, they are men that are just dating you for the sake of getting papers. Know that these men are playing the long game. They are patient. It can take 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 years. They will wait it out. They will manipulate you into thinking that you are their one and only, the love of their life, their shining star, when in all actuality, all they want is papers. Because when they do get their papers, they're going to turn around to either give papers to their wives that are back home, to their brother, sister, cousins, or they can also turn around and marry somebody for money. Of course, after they divorce your ass. So don't fall for the okie doke. Like, beware of the passport bros.
This particular woman sounds like a nut. Passport bros is none of what she's saying. We men from the United States of America going to foreign countries outside of the United States of America or any westernized society. We got our own money. We putting our head down and working, trying to retire early, making investments, making business decisions, networking with other fellas. What in the hell is she talking about? see what happens, fellas? I'm glad we got ahead of this. So they can't create the narrative for us like her. And many that tried to mimic her. Like, for instance, the video with a good lady saying, yo, he went overseas and got stuck when he was really in New Mexico. That's the example of how, let me not call them names, but it's just crazy how sick and twisted some of these people are making videos. We got examples of this. Fellas, I'm glad we're ahead of this. Stay a blue book gentleman. Stay a passport bro. Do your thing. We see they going.
Only reason an Asian woman would marry you is because of the prospect of a better life.
You go find a wife in the Philippines or Thailand or wherever these places are that are overseas. They're just happy to be rescued from their poverty-stricken life of no opportunity.
You may or may not be able to speak English properly. And if you want to call us uneducated and poor, that we will get any opportunity we can get just so we can get out of poverty. Men are supposed to be providers, so they are going to provide for their future partners and family. The bottom line is, we have what they are looking for. I don't understand where is the rage from these women coming from. Why are they even surprised their men leaving when they are the one who is causing it?
Fire! The kosher clinician.
Shame me about going to Thailand. You can't shame me about going to Africa,
right?
Or Portugal or Morocco.
Right.
Them days are over. They're over.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of black women don't believe the fat meat is greasy. Right. But I'll tell you what, if I bet that, you'll find out myself. Yes, I am from North Carolina. I am country, and I embrace all that. So,
I'm gonna use that. Damn it. The fat meat is greasy, but you know what? It goes back.
Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated, a book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen, men are not complex. They are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV. Emasculated. Go get your copy now.
All right, guys, we're about to start on tonight as I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. I told you guys before in the past that thinking errors in the form of reaction formation and classic projection appears to be the culprit to many modern women in America that have animus towards men that are getting their passports and traveling abroad. On tonight, we're going to show you guys the evidence, and we're going to show you the hypocrisy of some modern women as they accuse you of the things that they're actually doing themselves. Get your pens and paper together, and I'm about to drop some fire for your mind on tonight.
Fire!
Let's do it,
for
guys.
your mind. The kosher clinician.
Stella never lost her groove, guys. She's been tricking y'all. The same people that are accusing you of doing something, they are doing it themselves. What can we learn from the hypocrisy on the night as we explore the phenomena behind Stella's never lost their groove. They are tricking y'all. Let's go. To explore the merited rise of the Passport Bros movement. Share the stream, get the likes up, share the content. All right, guys, we're gonna have a good show on tonight because passport pirate or passport projection is a real phenomenon. You know, Stella never lost her groove because Stella been tricking y'all the whole time. Stella is accusing some of y'all of the same thing she's been doing. And we're going to see on the night with the evidence that Stella, guys, is projecting, but the Stellas also could have reaction formation. Reaction formation is an ego defense mechanism where a person say one thing, but they mean something else. But however, projection says when they project their anger towards you because they're guilty of the same thing that they're accusing you of. So we're going to have a good show on tonight, guys. We're going to talk about passport projection, and we're going to see and more or less expound upon why and how this phenomenon has become so prevalent in this current modern times and milieu, as black men are beginning to live their lives on their own terms, as black men are beginning to get passports, and it's making some afraid to the point that they're using disparaging comments to try to shame men into silence. I've told you guys before in the past that when a person doesn't get their needs met, they either turn within or they become indifferent. And it appears now that men are becoming indifferent, white and black, because they're tired of the disrespect, they're tired of the behaviors, and they're saying, give me liberty or give me death. And you guys are going to see on tonight with the evidence that the hypocrisy behind those that are trying to slander men of ADOS descent. And, you know, we've said before in the past, it's never a problem until the black men do it, because black men are frustrated. So as we can begin to recap, guys, this is what led up to the current frustration that many modern men have now.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man, because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves, and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you're strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl rock, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
I looked at the movie Frustrate. Go get your copy by Brother Al Grease. I was in that movie. And the first movie started back with Frustrated 1, Frustrated 2 with child support, and the current movie that's out now called Frustrated 3, as we talk about why American black men and men in general are frustrated with dating options and dating choices in the current milieu called America. And as I told you guys before in the past, when men don't get their needs met, then they go to other areas. And it's at the point now that many have checked out, many are checking out. And you're going to see from the evidence that the more that they shame men, the more men are going to fight the power and determine and declare the right to self-determination. Now, guys, do me a favor, get these likes up, share this stream, donate to the channel. If you guys are content creators, you know that content creation is very tedious. It takes a lot of time to put these shows together. So if you like what I'm doing, donate to the channel. If you don't have money, just share the content. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. I appreciate you guys listening in as my Tar Heels are playing Duke on tonight. But the hypocrisy, why, guys? And I want you guys to perhaps answer the questions in the chat. Why is the hypocrisy so prevalent with so many modern women when it comes down to Stella getting her groove back? Because some will argue that Stella lost her groove, but based on the evidence, Stella never lost her groove. Stella been tricking the whole time. Yeah. Ingram. Stella's still tricking, man. And I didn't know she was tricking. But Megan the robot told me this.
They tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
Yeah, they tricking us, Ingram. They tricking us because the same thing they're accusing the passport bros are doing, they've been doing it for years and still is doing it. Now, someone will say, well, Kosher, you just trying to lie on women, but I got boots on the ground because Peaceful Life is from the Caribbeans. He's from the Bahamas. So he know about them dreadheads and he know about what's been going on. We call it the hanky-panky. So Peaceful Life, tell the audience, man, what you know about this whole Stella movement and the hypocrisy associated. But before you tell me, shout out to my man, XL Pro, for the $5 super sticker, a $5 cash app. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, XL Pro. I appreciate it, brother. And also, what else do I have in here? And also, guys, once again, if you like what I'm doing, share the content and get the likes up. So, talk on Peaceful Life. Stella never lost her groove. She's tricking y'all. What's your take on that, man?
To be honest with you, man, it's actually comedy to me. So what I did was I allowed the narrative to continue, especially with the brothers that are new to the passport movement. Because like I always tell those guys, I don't make content, I am content. Right. So I let them continue on with their passport bro experience. So I explained to them that I was born in another country. They never knew that about me, and spent my years in the other country. So they think they have more experience than I do. But I'm from another culture. So just because I talk a certain way, they assume they have more history or more experience than me. So you just let them continue on with the narrative. But here's the problem that fundamentally they have. It's not only is it hypocrisy, because even since I was a little kid, when I walked the beaches, whether it be downtown or Paradise Island or other places, women have been traveling to the islands for years. We're talking back to the 80s when spent so much time on the beach. I spend a lot of time on the beach. And let me tell you something. Single women coming to the Caribbean for fun, traveling by themselves. See, back then, they weren't traveling like how they're traveling in the groups.
Right.
They were like women that were like maybe fresh out of divorces or whatever else, just traveling there for some fun and under the sun and the experiencing, obviously. So they wanted to experience the full island experience, put it like that.
Right.
And they got their money's worth, I'm sure.
Well, when you hear the hypocrisy, man, castigated against black men to travel, what's the first thing that comes to mind, man, when you hear more or less about this phenomenon, when they project their own issues towards black men?
I mean, most of it is just purely just hatred, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. They don't think that black men deserve anything. And especially in this culture here, where they see men only as resources, community eunuchs, in other words. So when men decided that, look, we're not signing up for, stepdaddy duties, or we're not handing over our resources, we're going to take care of ourselves, because for a community that doesn't respect or value men other than as utilities or as cleanup men, then all of a sudden these men are telling them, hell no, I'm not taking that deal. That's a terrible deal. And their whole idea, because remember, the typical black women in America think that they're better than even average looking women think that they're better.
Right.
So this is the first time that they've ever had men that are saying, look, I'm living free. I'm doing my own thing. Look, let me stop that alarm. I'm not doing this. So inevitably what has happened is the removal of I call it the insurance plan. That guy back in the day that used to get with women that had like 2-3 kids, or, be a sacrificial animal for the community. That guy is like, no, I'm taking a better deal. I'm not doing that, because throughout the manosphere has changed things. Men's content has changed things. Men's content has made men recognize shows like this and other shows that, hey, you're getting screwed. You're getting a raw deal. No other culture gives the best men, the hardest working men, the most productive men, the last pickings. That's like you're giving somebody who works harder the leftovers, or you don't give them the first choice to be fathers, or the first choice to picking the quality of women, or be selected. You're selecting men that have not really put in the work, and then you're keeping the best quality men as insurance policy. It's absolutely ridiculous. So what happened with a lot of these women after they've mismanaged their youth and they get out here in this market, now all of a sudden men are standing up for themselves and saying, no, hell no, these are bad deals. And they don't see these community eunuchs anymore, and they're up in arms. They're up in arms because they're going to try and demonize these guys. They're going to try everything they can to stop these guys from taking their wallets elsewhere.
Well, Dallas made a good point. She said, you're not talking about the defecation Dubai trips are, and
oh, the Dubai trips.
Yeah, the Dubai trips, man. They're getting defecated on the Dubai, man. Right. And not only they're getting defecated on, they're getting their backs blown out in Jamaica, and it's just weird, man. Like somebody said, it's not a problem to the black man doing it. Everybody else, no bad built white woman can go to Gambia. White men been doing it for years, going to Thailand and all over the world. Black women been getting that. And I personally don't care what folks do. Right. If black women want to get their backs blown out, that's between them and God. I don't care. But when black men do it, all of a sudden, we're commuting the property. They have false allegations. They start lying, because they can't hear the truth. They have a condition called cognitive, which means awareness. The word dissonance comes from the word hear. They cannot hear what you're saying because they are deaf. And they are deaf, peaceful life, because they deny the evidence when you present them the evidence. We can show these women the same evidence that they accuse the men of doing. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence, a peaceful life. Right. They will argue with you, do ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of attacking the message and the evidence. And they will fight you with slander and defamation, or they will flee peaceful life, because many of these women cannot hear what you're saying because they have a condition, I call it a very severe condition called this. Now, guys, get the likes up, share the content, donate to the channel. Go check out my man, Peaceful Life. We're going to have a good show on tonight, man. We're going to shame the devil. But get these likes up and donate to the channel because, once again, content creation is very tedious. Peaceful Life, he's a content creator, and he know himself the amount of time that it takes to edit these videos. It takes hours to put these shows together. So if you guys like what I'm doing, if you ladies like what I'm doing, share the content because there's some good women that are listening. And there are some good women that are looking for husbands. But in the meantime, men are saying that it's hard to find quality women. If you had to guesstimate the amount of quality women, Peaceful Life, what would you say the percentage would be? And this is a rough guesstimation. You can start with a liberal perspective, and then you can start also with a conservative perspective. What would you say?
Which generation? Well, because remember, we have this right now, like I'm 48, so I'm on the secondary market. And the secondary market is brutal. It's brutal. You literally, guys like me have to go 15, 20 years younger than themselves. So right. Which market are you talking about? The Gen Z millennial market or I call it the corpse market. Which market are you going?
Well, this is the current market, the current market. You can add Gen X in with the current, from Gen X on up to now. If you took all those women and put them in a pot, what percentage would you say, and you don't know, we're just guesstimating, a liberal percentage that you feel that are not wife ready or not wife worthy, and then a conservative one? What would you say?
Okay, if we X out, all right, we adding in the grannies or the cougars, the roadkill, all of the women that are out here competing with their daughters. So we're adding all these women together, the feminists and everybody else. I used to say 5%.
Right.
Man, after going, working out with these women at the gym, spending time with them in the community, man, I would say I'm going to be conservative and say 3 to 5%. Mm-hmm. Wife quality, America, the West, 3 to 5%. If you're not trying to get a migraine headache and sign up for a life of torture, 3 to 5%. And that's just being nice.
You think it's that bad?
It's bad. It's bad, man. It's bad.
So yeah, go ahead.
And especially with the community now, and even now we have with the community of our brothers in the community, because we also got the alphabet sisters, and with the sisterhood, the way it is right now, there's women that are swinging both ways. Mm-hmm. They're swinging for both branches. Because when I deal with a lot of the sisters now, what I'm realizing that a lot of them are bi. So you got to also include that into these plural type relationships that you have here going on. Because remember, the community has been very much feminized in terms of with a lot of things. So you have to deal with a lot of sisters are, not to say the word terrible, consuming each other. And that's just the way it is. So these all girls trips can be all girls trips experience. Because nowadays,
bi-curious. A lot of them are bi-curious, man.
They're very bi-curious,
Bi-curious, what you call it, bumping beavers?
The community car is a whole different experience. And I always tell people that's what's happening now, man. We gotta these women, especially nowadays, they get recruited to the sisterhood. They don't know if that woman who's is trying to get them in the sisterhood to go on these all girls trip to get pounded out in Jamaica is also alphabet, Right. So you got, so she gets the best of both worlds. She go over. I would say Jamaica is the number one pounder for American women. Like Jamaican dudes, salute to the brother. Or these ragamuffin, rude boy, yardies. For some reason, man, they pound them hard over there, dude. I don't think the Bahamians got anything. If I had to rank pounding places, Jamaica would rank number one. For those, especially with those big heavyweight gals coming off that boat, they slam them good over there, man. I tell you what, Jamaica is, I would say, the pound capital for the American black woman.
No, it is. And when you see the evidence, man,
we rank somewhere in the top 5, but Jamaica pounds them good.
Yeah, Jamaica. So the Rude Boys. But shout out to my man Greg Scott for the $25 super sticker, super sticker. He said, "Welcome, gentlemen. What does Peaceful Life think of Dennis Sperling's thought that women will attempt to split the passport bros by choosing between the good bros and the bad bros? That tactics have failed." So before you answer that, Peaceful Life, shout out to that Gregory Scotland, because you always show love and support to the channel. You are the number one sponsor of this stream, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Right? That's a deal, right?
And then,
that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
All right, Peace of Life. What's your take, man, about what my man Gregory Scotland said? I'm going to put it back up there so you can read it.
I think it's a failed effort on their part, because here's the problem. They're not offering anything. Mm-hmm. So they can't. It's hard to split men, because here's the thing. A lot of men that are switching over to the passport movement are fed up with those types of women. So, right. And that's the thing about, they are so into this welfare mentality, this non-competitive mentality, this entitlement mentality. Like, if I knew the women were leaving because I suck and I was a terrible human being, I would say, well, dang, I need to compete more. But they don't. They're so non-competitive that they only come with shame and ridicule. Mm-hmm. So what happens is you can't split people, because then the guy ends up in the same spot. What are you offering me as value? And men respond to incentives. So they're operating from a non-incentive mindset. They're trying to play mind games and manipulation, because when you talk about it, men don't really know their power. Now men are realizing their power.
Right.
So the non-value criticism falls on deaf ears, because what are you exchanging to these men so they would listen to you? Because these men are listening to these type of women at the office. They're annoying. They're walking on eggshells, dealing with human resources. And now they see the same radical feminists come into this space trying to divide brothers when you offer no value. You are offering men absolutely nothing in exchange for their manhood, their masculinity. And you can't turn those men against other men that experience the same type of L's in terms of dealing with you from a mental perspective, from a psychological perspective. So all of these men are fed up with you. And the more you talk, the more you recruit more men.
Shout out to my dear friend Smurfette, Red Lipstick Vibe. She said, supporting this awesome channel. Keep up the great work. And guys, if y'all want to get some editing work done, go check out Smurfette, because Smurfette helped me, and we did it together. She helped me drop some fire for your mind.
Fire for your mind. Clinician.
Put it together, man. You know, I had to put some kosher swag onto it, but Smurfette definitely got some skills. So go check out Gold Star, guys. Smurfette can help you guys with some editing. Give her some business. She's good at what she does. I like her work, and we'll be continuing to do business in the future. But I'm a creator as well. I do editing, but she got the special effects, so I'm trying to figure it out. But anyway, we're gonna get deeper into it. When you hear the word yardie, man, and dreadhead, what comes to mind, Peaceful Life, when you think about a dreadhead? What comes to mind when you think about Stella and dreadheads? What comes to mind, man?
I think about some vigorous and viciously pounded women out on the Jamaican beaches or in those hotels. And like I say, they ain't got no shame about it, man. They go over there and get there. They get there. Let me tell you something. I used to climb coconut trees as a young man in the islands, okay? It takes an incredible amount of
tell the people where you're from, man.
I'm from the Bahamas. I'm from over the hill in Baintown. So right. You passport bros, when I was on the last show, let me educate you about being from overseas. I'm from overseas. I understand other culture. When you climb those coconut trees as a young man, you develop a tremendous amount. That's why I was able to jump so high and play basketball so good, even at Division I level. You develop a lot of core strength, back strength. That's a pull-up. That's all kinds of core strength. Let me tell you something. Pounding out some big broad on that big sister that come over there. These brothers do not care. At the end of the day, look, it is what it is. Whether it be the guys that are chilling, whatever, it's just what happens. It's just life. But see, nobody cares if some sister or some divorcee goes over to the islands and get their back blown up. We don't care about that because we don't even want to be bothered with them. You know what I mean? It's like if some broad walking the beach of, let's say, Junkanoo Beach, downtown Nassau, or something like that. Like, we know she's over there trying to get pounded out. So maybe a brother wants to make a couple of dollars or whatever else and give her the romantic experience, and they pay. I'll be honest with you. The white women are the better deal because the white women pay more money.
They pay more money, right?
The sisters be trying to get into that relationship stuff because they be all lonely in the States. The sisters go over there. They think they're going to get that Winston from Stella Got That Groove guy, so they try and fall in love. The white women try and fall in love too, but they be paying that money. The white women pay that money. These sisters are cheap. No disrespect to all you. You sisters is cheap as hell. You talk about passport bros. Passport bros have money, but the sisters go over there and be trying to get discounts over there in the islands. And Jamaica's dollar's a little bit lower, but they come over there trying to get a man to create some romance. And dudes ain't trying to take care of no, American black woman. They over there for the experience. They about to pound her out or whatever. They ain't trying. If they anything, nah.
Let me ask you a question, Ingram. You created a term, and I like to give people credit. I don't steal folks' terms like some of these content creators, but you and I both created terms. You created the first one. You created a term called relationship capitalism, and I created a term called what was it? Relationship inflation or hoflation. Would you say, or would you argue that the passport bro movement is a response to relationship capitalism? If that's so, explain to the audience why.
Well, it is because, again, we talk about, we know that the dating market now has become global. And the reason why the brothers are moving out is because they're not getting the same value from the women.
Right.
Many of these women are just undesirable in terms of their attitude, their mentality, and even the ones that are in shape. Like I said, the ones that are in shape, there's their attitude and the mentality. And then there's others that don't even care what men think. Like I said, they've never had to compete for men in their life because there's always been the security net of the black community. I'm black or whatever. It's because we have a matriarchal culture. Mm-hmm. But now what brothers are doing is they're adding that capitalistic mentality towards it, which is to getting the best value you can out of a relationship. You're going to have to go somewhere else. Men value traditional women. Mm-hmm. The women here are modern women. And the problem is if modern women were expecting modern amenities, that'd be fine. But modern women are expected to be treated like traditional women. Well, how are you a traditional woman and you got 100 bodies on your box? That's not traditional. You've been viciously pounded out. So how are you going to charge me the price of relationship and marriage?
Right.
That's a bad deal.
It's a bad deal, right.
A lot of brothers will say, no, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking stepdaddy duties. I'm going to use my economics, my power, my capitalism, and I'm going to go somewhere and find a woman that, one, respects masculinity, was raised to be a wife, was raised to respect men, and now we're exchanging value. She's bringing me value, and I'm bringing her value, and she's adding value to my life. Because, like I said, I always tell guys, nobody wants to sleep with a porcupine, and no one wants to live with a combative woman. And no one wants to deal with a woman who's negotiating some old box. That used box is used box. I'm sorry. Like I say, I'm not self-righteous, because I'll consume some used box, but at an 85% discount. I'm not going in full price, Coach. Right. Drop it 80%, 50%. Let's negotiate.
And it's the passport bro movement is also tied into the right to self-determination. Hubris, narcissistic traits, peaceful life has led to a lot of entitlement. And that's a byproduct of hoflation. And it basically means that you got a lot of women that have given their virtue away. We know there's some good women left. So shout out to the good women that respect themselves. But by and large, this is a culture that celebrates promiscuity. And most guys ain't gonna turn it down if you give it up. You know, we don't turn it down. It's in our nature. You know, we're like ravenous dogs. You put that Wagyu meat or that Angus beef out, you know, we're gonna put some pepper on it, you know. But the sad thing is they don't understand the power, the virtue, and the power of preserving themselves. But, you know, you've been with, a bunch of dudes, but, you know, you want a man to put a ring on your finger, you know, and the man is saying, especially to, you know, to the 33% of men that are virgins, because, see, we don't look at that. There are 33% of men that are virgins in this world, and we don't talk about that. And so what is that 33% getting? To the women that got sons, what are they going to get? Those men are not going to get wholesome women, because in the past, Ingram, a feminine woman plus her virginity was a fair exchange for a masculine man and his provision. But where's the fair exchange? There is no fair exchange. And what's happening there, men are getting frustrated because women don't understand. And there was a conversation, I'm going to do a show on it at some point. When you and I were in high school, Peaceful Life, you know, box was like $9.99 on the pound. It was very valuable because women had a high level of value. I mean, and look, I'm not knocking women for getting it in. If you want to get it in, get it in. But now, shit, you know, it's like 99 cents on the pound, like Walton bologna or frosty morning hot dogs.
It's nothing more disrespectful than a rebranded 304 in your face, trying to charge you the price of relationship, serious relationship and marriage. It's so disrespectful, because here's why. Some guy pounded her in an alleyway for nothing. You're getting the same box that dude, that them 100, 200 dudes got, and now you got to wife her up. Look, I know people say, you know, look, if we're not talking marriage, body count, all that stuff, well, it don't matter. But see, back then in the day, remember back in the day, before social media gave people, these women, this injection of self-esteem, fake self-esteem, that is. But remember, back in the day, a 304 was a 304. There was a clear separation between respectable, honorable women and women that were 304s. Nowadays, because of social media and these simps, you simps are disgusting. You've propped up these women. Some of them are hard on the eyes. These women that are hard on the eyes come into these spaces flexing. And because social media and guys and these simps and these DMs, now these retired 304s or these rebranded 304s come up in here. They show you guys some old high mileage twerking box, and guys hit the like button, they hit them with 1,000 likes to get that dopamine rush. And then they come out here, they start acting like, you know, special. So I recognize a chicken head from a mile away. And the problem is that there's no separation anymore. And that's the fundamental problem, because before a 304 would, you know, it would be literally should be put in check 30 years ago for being disrespectful, talking to somebody about serious relationship.
And you know, the sad thing is, man, you know, we keep forgetting to ask men what they want. Women think they understand what men want, and they don't really understand what men want, especially masculine men. But sadly, Peaceful Life, many of the young men living here in America have been so emasculated, they never had fathers to teach them how to be men. Guys, do me a favor. The robot just told me to get the likes up. If you guys have not donated to the channel, please go donate to the channel, because the robot say he got bills to pay because the light bill is high, and the Chinese just flew a balloon over North Carolina trying to spy. So
hit that like button. Go ahead, do it now before I reach out into that screen and twist your hand like Aunt Esther. Hit the like button. Thank you. Destroy.
Listen, guys, if you got comments, feel free to send a cash app or a super chat. You got a specified question for Peaceful Life and I. We're going to get deep into the rabbit hole on tonight. And Ingram, we're going to break this thing down. We're going to use a critical lens. You were a former cop. I also got a degree in law enforcement. I went to school to be a cop. I worked in the prison system for 2 years. I worked with the Department of Juvenile Justice for 7. So you and I are pretty good judges of character for the most part. Is that fair to say?
Yes, very fair.
And so when we assess the current scene that we have and the current world that we have, it's also safe to say that it's a concept called entropy. The entropy is going to happen sooner or later, relationship entropy, because things are falling apart. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. And like I said, it's just an imbalance of value, because men are still expected to provide traditional benefits to women. That's why women are talking about 6 foot, 6 inches, 6 figures, because even though they're bringing less value to the table, because let's face it, their money and their income, they're not going to share with you. So you get over that right off the bat. They're expecting you to pay the bills. They always look for a man that's better than them. Mm-hmm. It's just the way they are. Mm-hmm. That's just hypergamy. That's natural. So if you're expecting these traditional provisions from men, but you are not providing traditional value, a dude is getting robbed. It's just the way it is. So, because they're not trying to pay any bills like that. They're not trying to. They always talk about, especially these ones in the secondary dating market, they're really big because, remember, they've been getting their back blown out for so many years. Now they use words like security. I'm looking for a man that, what's a good word I use? A man that has got his life together. Yeah. Right. You're looking for, what's good? Guy, Minister Jap said, you're looking for a ratchet retirement plan. You're looking for a dude to get that devalued box and wipe it up and, give you a lifestyle. Because again, what they say women never change their taste in men. They change their taste in lifestyle, and they want to live a good lifestyle. And they want to have you there, as their, provider or cleanup man or whatever they have going on. But there's never really any good value being offered to men, because if they really cared about value, they'd offer it up front when they're younger. Yeah. Sadly, man. Dollar Will said women flying spy balloons and blaming China. I know, right? That's funny. All right, so Ingram, this is the part of the show, man, where we do a critical analysis. And Ingram, this is the part of the show where we assess, collaborate, and examine.
Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate.
All right, so this compilation that Edward Anderson and I did. Shout out to Shay Dave, you listening. You did a great job putting the clips you did, and also Obsidian. And we're going to look at the evidence, guys. You're going to see for yourself the hypocrisy associated with many that call themselves adherents of truth. You're going to see the hypocrisy and that the shaming language does not work on men. So once again, guys, get the likes up, share the stream. I need 5 people to share this stream because I want some of the men to hear this. And also donate to the channel. But if you don't have any money, just share the stream. So we about to get into it, Ingram. Hold tight. I'm about to show the evidence, and let's examine it. You tell me what you think about it, because the evidence don't lie. Let me see if I can find it. Hold tight. Because Stella never lost her groove. She just been tricking y'all the whole time. She's been tricking the whole world, letting the world think she's innocent, but she's just been tricking y'all. So, all right, so we're going to look at it.
A ton of scrutiny from men and especially from women. But one of the things that I did not recognize was that while pastors are being accused of being just belligerent, degenerate, leftover sex tourists, not only are these women doing the same thing, they're probably doing it so much more.
There was a book by Bianca C. Williams called The Pursuit of Happiness. The way I found out about it is because they're using this book at Williams College, which is the oldest liberal arts college, and they're studying the habits of Black women going down to Jamaica. Yankee woman come down from Babylon for the bamboo, for yard man bamboo. That's what they doing. That's what they doing. They want the boom boom a massage by the bamboo man, the bamboo king, basically. And they're paying these young men for it. They literally schedule trips. If you want to talk about sex trafficking, it's one thing for some random dude to go down there with his buddies and get drunk and hang out with some loose chicks on the street. It's another thing for an American company to specifically target older Black American women, have them pay them a fee, and then take them to a place in a foreign country where
Oh, this shit. Now listen. Imagine if that was an old man behind a young woman, the outrage. But you got this young boy behind this old woman. And I saw somewhere where Dennis Sperling actually said that some of these boys were, they were the M word, they were touched in some kind of way. What's the first thing that comes to your mind, Peaceful Life, when you see these images, man?
I see economics. I see some dude trying to make some money. He's going to pound out that, look, good for them, man. Somebody has to consume that roadkill because I ain't touching it. I'm sorry. I don't look. So especially some of those that are old, like, look, 2 old batteries can't start a car. And I'm not, salute to these young brothers because you can pound them out, especially one down there. I don't want none of that flesh. Salute to you, but you are doing a community service the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. So we've got no problem with that. You know what I mean? Like I always say, dealing with these cougars is like messing with roadkill. Right. That's not the option you want. But if it's been laying on the side of the road less than 24 hours, that somebody usually scoops it up in the pickup truck. And I ain't down with that roadkill, buddy. Salute to you, young brothers.
But it's just amazing, man, that so many come together to attack Black men and men that have passports and traveling. But they don't say anything to the evidence. That's why I say it's so important to have the evidence. And shout out once again to Obsidian, did a great job, masterful job. Shay Charday. I knew about Bianca Williams in part. I knew about the book, but I didn't really think about too much about it. I knew about Bianca Williams, but Edward came on the show a while ago and he brought it more to light. And they've been more or less using the evidence with Bianca Williams to more or less clarify and give credence to this conversation. But hold tight.
And they can then solicit prostitution from male prostitutes. That is sex trafficking.
There is an entire ecosystem that supports sex tourism and sex industry, especially for women. We're not just talking about movies. We're not just talking about romance novels. We're not just talking about television series. All of which exists for women, none of which exists for men, by the way. No, we're talking about books that are being studied in universities.
And there are women who are doing it, and it's documented in this book by Bianca C. Williams. They're literally saying women old as your grandmother are going down to these spots in.
So basically, Peaceful Life, these women are saying, that like that song said, it's your thing, do what you want to do. Oh, yeah. They're celebrating getting their jump off on, and I personally, I don't care, but what I do care about is a hypocrisy. Fox 26 didn't do a report on these women. He attacked Austin Holland and he called passport bros Johns. Right. But you saw this young man, the boy probably was about 20. It appears that this young 20-year-old was a victim of sex trafficking because sex trafficking is totally different than anything else. They go with the intent purpose to traffic young boys for sex. What's your take on that, man, based on the conversation?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, here's the problem from an island perspective. Unfortunately, the sisters that go down there, for many of them, they're very cheap. I'll be honest with you. They go down there, they get pounded out. But the yardies and the brothers down there prefer the white women. That's because the white women have paid more money. They ready to divorce, rape their husband and got all that money. But these women that go down there and get pounded out by the brothers or whatever, they be looking for a discount down there as well. So it's like put it like this. For a lot of those brothers down there, it's mutually beneficial. they're providing resources to the economy. We don't want to deal with these broads. And it's almost like they think about how much money they're pumping back into the economy over there. So are they going? They're going down there specifically. That's why you see they have a coalition of women that recruit other women. Like the sisterhood they recruit married women to go down there and get their backs blown out. So I always say you can't buy what's not being sold, but the brothers got nothing on them. Mm-hmm. They run the game. They, in terms of going down there and experiencing the culture, full-fledged. See, I really don't know the age. I mean, age varies over there. With the young brothers can be over there from 18 up that are trying to make some money. Because remember, the American dollar is powerful over there. Mm-hmm. Now, is it sex trafficking? No. Is it sex tourism? Yes. That's a whole different story.
Right.
These are willing participants. Just like they say something about passport. You can't buy what's not being sold.
Right.
Nowhere. These things are being sold wherever you go. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the money comes in. The money is good. And it's an understanding in these places. So they're pumping money into this economy. And like I said, somebody has to do the heavy lifting and somebody has to take care of these broads. But overall, what's happening, though, is that these women, many of them, especially the black women, when they try to play for keeps with these brothers, they don't want to pay the money.
Right.
That's the biggest problem. That's why a lot of the brothers prefer the white women or the white European women, because these sisters are cheap. No disrespect to any of them, not all of them. But when it comes, they're not trying to take, see, the problem with them, they're not trying to take care of a man. The white women will take care of a man. Mm-hmm. They'll pay more for the D. So the brothers will okay, they'll pound out the sisters, pound them out in droves, but they're looking for men to be like their man. And when you're 20 years older than a brother from the West Indies, he's like, yo, you want to take me back to America, but you don't want to pay no money. And that's where the problem. So what they do is they round up a whole shipload of them and go down there and get their back blown out. And they leave whatever money on the table down there. And then they make repeat trips. So I don't know what they call it, but it looks like sex tourism to me. I don't know.
Well, we're going to look at it and continue to explore the evidence and tell me what you think.
In Ocho Rios, these spots in Montego Bay, and they are having young men as young as teenage boys banging their back out.
There is literally an entire system that is set up to support women's sexual behavior, women's sexual fantasies. And it's not being criticized.
Women have been doing it for decades longer than men. What do I mean by that? There's a movie out called years out. Stella Got Her Groove Back. You might be too young to remember. Okay. So
I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I remember it. My parents didn't.
Stella Got Her Groove Back was about this old lady who went down to Jamaica to get some bamboo from a young Jamaican man. Okay. What they're masking is the fact that young man was working. You understand what I'm talking about? He was.
What's the term?
Rent-a-dread.
Rent-a-dread?
Rent-a-dread.
Like renting a car, like rent-a-dread?
Like rent-a-dread. Women would come to the Jamaica and see the Rasta man them on the beach and, and them come to have a good time and rent-a-dread for that time that they're there.
This reminds me of hookup culture.
Well,
is that a hookup culture thing?
That's another aspect that they don't want to talk. They want to, and oh my God, this book talks about how, we're fighting feminism and intra-racism, and this is how we're fighting against the power structure by going there and they get your back toe up. That's what you're doing. And then white women, shout out to all the white women, because you always.
Oh my God.
That's the money. That's where the money is, Kosher.
Oh my God, man, who want to sleep with that, man? She like a dead chicken.
Hey, look,
she like a dead chicken, man. Look at that back, man.
That's not for consumption for us brothers that are doing well, but that's where the money is, Kosher. I'm telling you, the sisters, don't pay like the white women, man. The white women pay the money. The sisters do rent. They rent a lot.
But where's the outrage from all these clowns, man? You know, all these clowns, you know, that these are goofballs on social media call them in now. Where's the outrage from these clowns, man?
Well, you know what?
Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage?
Yeah. Agents of gynocracy, and many of them are just caping, hoping that women, the virtue signaling, hoping that women will like them, and looking for clout and looking for subscribers, and hopefully some twat will drop off the back of the truck, and you guys are not like those passport bros. You're nice guys. We'll give you some, but they be hoping and stuff, man. But let me tell you something. These women don't care about you jokers. You can simp all you want and pander all you want. And then many of them are just the spawns of these single mom parent households. They're these single mom raised simps. So they will cape as much as they can. You know that male hyena in the hyena clan? The male hyena, he's the lowest ranking in the hyena queen, but he'll fight to the death to defend his queen. Right. Like he get picked on, he's last to eat, at the kill. That's why I call them hyenas, because it's not a masculine environment at all. So these dudes are raised up in this feminine environment. That's why they de-watch other men so much. Because look at the community. You go in the community car, they're watching you to see what kind of shoes you wear, what kind of hat you wear, what shirt you wear, checking you up, up and down, looking at your car. They're always measuring with each other. So they're always watching other men's D. That's just a community simp, mama's boy raised mentality. Because I don't care where men go I don't care where you go and travel and where you put your D. I'm not a part of the alphabet community. All right, so and that's the problem with them, is anybody that de-watches another man, you're a closet alphabet. Just say it. Look, I ain't got nothing against you if that's the way you flow. Yeah. It's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate. But I'm glad that Shay did a great job with that. I did a show in the past talking about it. I didn't go in and I didn't do as much research, but she did a good job, her and Dennis, and also up Sydney, as you guys can see. To the 55 to the watching guys, share this stream. Thank you to the brother that shared the stream, and donate to the channel, because as I said before, guys, content creation is a job. So if you guys like what I'm doing, donate to the channel, get the likes up, and we'll get deeper back into the conversation. Hold tight. But man, this is disgusting, man. Look at that back, man. Come on, man, Coach. You look. See, that's because you got money.
Man, she like an old chicken, man. I can't do that with that.
True. She primes
in on it. It's gotten so bad. They've been going to the Gambia. It's so bad now. The government is now cracking down on these women going to the Gambia, enticing these young people. They got videos out about this. So this is pot calling the kettle black. But humans will be humans. But either way, that's what I got to say about that.
The blatant hypocrisy that is being shown with this whole scenario is a literal joke. To me, this is just more free promotion for the passport bros. Anytime there is a push to try to shame these men, to try to find reasons to demean, to try to find reasons to instill fear or shame or guilt, whatever it may be, anytime that exists, the exact opposite happens. It's almost as if more free promotion. Thank you for making this movement now more popular. It's just downright bad. And truthfully, I was not aware. I really was not aware of how robust this system was, and not to mention all of the media representation that I shared earlier. It's like how is this even going on? This is a joke. It's literally a joke at this point. And really, at the end of the day, the world as a whole is becoming more globalized. I mean, this is jobs, the economy. I mean, I can literally text somebody in Nigeria right now and they get my message in the matter of 2 seconds. Like everything about this world has become more globalized, and that includes the dating and mating market. So no amount of trying to dig your heels in the ground, no amount of trying to shame, guilt, manipulate, cry, create stories, throw a tantrum, none of that is going to change. The world is working. So it's like either you evolve or you adapt or you get left behind. But really, truly, truly, I think the biggest complaint and the real issue going on is because women are now painfully aware that they're going to have to step up to the game. That
goes back to relationship capitalism, man.
Oh yeah, but
are they gonna step up to the game?
Are they gonna step? You know what? You know what's so crazy about it, Kosher? If I was a beach pounder, I'm sorry, I'm pounding the white women. You know why? Because if they pound those women, the white women will give up that money. I'm telling you, the sisters, some of the sisters, not all of them, be on the rations, man. Because even the brothers in the islands be saying that they'll get the money, they'll rent them. But the money, you see that white lady walking down the beach and that big gal, the big white gal, that's Western Union on steroids. Like the sisters they ain't gonna give that Western Union money like the white women. So the brothers know that in the islands, you got to get the white women. They pay. The sisters are, no disrespect, the sisters are cheap. They want to come, they rent, and they want to discuss discounts for the week. Get out of here, man. So the brothers, if they have a choice down in the islands, even they're gonna snatch up the white women first. But the sisters will get they're gonna, it's a tough competition over there to get all these women. Because how you gonna, you get about 2-3 white women. You have to get like 10 sisters to equal that to make that money. 2-3 white women make you a bunch of money. And that's how the brothers do it down there. They go for the white women first, and then they get the sisters next. Because it's the money flow.
Yeah, it is the money flow. And Stella is still tricking y'all. She never lost her groove. Yeah. She's tricking y'all. And you're right, D. We are in the last days. I agree.
Not gonna get by just doing half-hearted things. They're not gonna get by just offering pennies and expecting millions in return. They're not going to get by with just the bad behavior anymore. They're actually going to have to put in work.
My God,
and I think something about that enrages and bothers and infuriates women who were told that they're the prize and all they have to do is just be. That they are the table. They don't need to bring anything to the relationship, and Prince Charming will come. You have a woman who grew up hearing this. You have a woman who grew up with this expectation that the prince is going to come for me just because I exist. And they were never told that work was required for them to have, maintain, and succeed in a relationship. Now that fantasy is shattering, it's falling apart in front of their eyes, and they don't know how to handle it. But instead of actually admitting that and saying, okay, I actually may have to work now. Crap. Now I actually may have to be nice. Dang it.
Please, sir. I'd like some more.
Shop to Obsidian.
More!
Fair use.
You want more of these broads being hypocritical? More!
Hello, it is me, an ambassador for the bad bitches, and I would like to formally announce that we all collectively believe that the passport bros are whack. You gotta leave the country for cooch.
Damn, triple homicide.
Yikes. Ew. You thought that was cute? Now here, I'm gonna offer some suggestions. Bitches in the States don't wanna fuck you because the inside of you is terrible. Bitches on the outside of the States also don't want to fuck you because your inside is terrible. You possessing a passport does not grant you access to human bodies, thus perpetuating your whackness. All right, gang. Enjoy your flight. I heard JetBlue's having a sale. Don't get robbed. Or do. I don't really care.
I'm convinced this woman has a mental illness, an unresolved mental illness.
I'm convinced the pH balance is off on that cooch she's popping. She's probably got some bad pH going over there. That's women that be talking like her be all jacked up, man. But
yeah, she give therapists a bad name, man. But we're gonna get back into it. But you see the level of vitriol, man, the level of hatred, man, and it's appalling to say the least. I've never in my life seen so much hatred and vitriol towards men that want to travel and men living their lives on their own terms. It's weird to me because her being the therapist, you would think that's what she would, say, well, listen, I believe in the right to self-determination. But it's clear that some of these women, because they are hypergamous and they don't want to compete, and that goes back to relationship inflation or capitalism and also hoflation, men are saying fine. Because see, I think a lot of women forgot Peaceful Life that men are the buyers, women are the sellers. But women now think that they are the buyers and the man is the seller. But no, men are the buyers. You know, we set the market, you know, and you got to make sure you are suitable for the man that's attempting to purchase you to make you his woman. But they give the market is inflated, man. Hoflation is taking over. And when you see stuff like this, man, it makes it even worse. Guys, get the likes up once again, donate to the channel, and share the stream, please. Let's get back into it. Hold tight.
Today, we are talking about African American women dating black men from different cultures. Bianca, you wrote a book about this, The Pursuit of Happiness. Let's get into it a little bit.
I went to Jamaica to study race and diaspora.
Now, Bianca Williams wrote the book called Pursuit of Happiness. I knew about the book. Edward Anderson brought it back to my attention in the last 2 shows that I did. But we're going to get into this because this pursuit of happiness is clear and consistent with what some of these white women want. They want to be like Miss Ann. They want to have the kind of men that Miss Ann got. They want to have fun. And this is consistent with them trying to emulate, sadly, white women, because white women have been doing this like white men have been doing. But now it's a problem when black men do it.
Actually, to figure out whether or not black folks in Jamaica and black folks in the U.S. were experiencing race in the same way. No, we are not. We experience blackness very differently. African Americans have a lot of power because of the U.S. and military power, economic power, etc. But I came across this fabulous group of women from Girlfriend Tours International. It was a group of women who brought African American women from the U.S. to Jamaica for traveling, to live out their Stella fantasies.
So black women have groups where they organize groups to go to Jamaica. See, in the book, don't blame it on Rio, the real deal behind why men go to Brazil for sex. See, it was framed by the author Jewel Woods that it was bad for brothers to organize trips to Brazil. But when we find out that black women are doing it, Jewel Woods ain't got nothing to say about that. Aaron Fountain ain't got nothing to say about that. Interesting. My man Abe is great in the building with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He says, pseudoscience nonsense. Exactly. How much lipstick can you put on a goddamn pig? Let's continue. Fair use.
Weren't necessarily looking for men. They were looking to connect with one another, but the men were there and very present and giving them all the love and appreciation that they couldn't really experience in the U.S. Part of why they're going to Jamaica is to escape white supremacy. To find a space that is predominantly black. The U.S.
They're going to Jamaica to escape a white supremacy. Now they're trying to get some black meat. What's your take on that? They're going to Jamaica to escape white supremacy, man.
It's freaking comedy.
What sense does that make? Hold tight. Shout out to my man Charles Curry for the $2 super sticker. I appreciate it, Charles Curry, brother. Thank you for showing love, Charles Curry. Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. Go ahead.
I mean, it's absolute comedy. The hypocrisy of how they spin things to fit a narrative. Let's tell you how selfish these broads are.
Very selfish.
How self-centered they are. They will switch it up any kind of way to justify, the things that they do. The problem with them, it ends up being the same thing though. They don't like to pay though. They will pay, but they won't pay. Like if you're getting a younger man down there and you want to keep going and getting that service, you got to be willing to pay long term. And that's where they fall off. Because they're competing with the other women going down there as well, getting their backs blown off. Mm-hmm. So they'll go down there and rent for a little bit, but inevitably they try to transform these young men into being some kind of man in their life. But this dude's like, yo, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. You're going to have to take care of me. You're going to have to file my paperwork. You're going to have to do all that stuff. That's where they fall off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just appalling, man, that the level of hubris and the level of hypocrisy that you're seeing this whole fiasco, and no one calls it out. You got these goofball male content creators, going across other black men's content and accusing them of trafficking, tourism, and all this goofy mess. But his goofy ass won't say nothing about, and many of them won't say nothing about these women. That's why I say you can't take them serious because they're weird and they're hypocrites. Won't say nothing about the bad built white women, the white men, and the black woman. But all of a sudden, you denigrate black men and you try to shame them into silence. Make it make sense, man.
Space where we feel racism on a daily basis. They want.
Right, because black men couldn't possibly feel racism on a daily basis, and maybe one reason why they go to Cartagena, which is a predominantly black area of Colombia, or why they go to so maybe Bahia, which is a predominantly black area of Brazil, or you know what I mean? It couldn't possibly be because they want to get away from the racism too. Oh no, it's to take advantage of the poor little brown women's. But look at what the lovely ladies are doing to Dexter St. Jock. My man E. Lim in the building with the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He says, we are the only country in the world who have people put another country in front of American African. If you go somewhere else in the world, you are identified by where you were born, despite your country lived overseas. There it is. Let's continue, shall we? Fair use.
To go somewhere where they can relax, let their hair down, a beach, all that good stuff.
I wanted to ask though is that they're escaping white supremacy from the U.S., but they're going to a country that is the result of colonialism, and colonialism is still very parallel. It's still white supremacy in another form.
So there's a chapter in the book where I talk about the different positionalities that African American women who are tourists and Jamaican women who live there are experiencing. Kind of this triangle that is created between the Jamaican men who are showing all this love and attention, tourists who are there, and the
you see how you see it? Oh yes, girl, yes. Yeah.
But on the flip side, men can't go to Brazil or Nigeria or any other country, Philippines and Thailand, to get the same kind of love, support, and adulation. And these women are just basically adding fuel to the fire while men are checking out and men are getting wives from other countries. You can't deny the evidence. Now, here's the difference. We got firsthand evidence of what these women are doing. But there really is no evidence accusing men of what they're saying they're doing. It's just conjecture, to say the least. What's your take on that?
Well, it's evidence. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming that they're doing this, but for them, it's about total power and control. They want to be able to do what they want to do, go overseas and do their, I call it budget tricking for the black women, because many of them don't like to pay. I call it tricking on a budget. And many of the brothers in the islands complain about the same thing with the American black women. They will rent, get pounded out, but they don't like to send that Western Union, unfortunately. So they're the white women will always get the preference down there in the islands. So they're having difficulty even competing with the white women down there, but that's a whole different story. But the problem is that, again, we have these simps that come into these spaces that try and shame men. But again, this is all about power and control, controlling men, controlling their resources, keeping black men in order, keeping them under control. But even, like I said, even with the overseas market, for them, they even having complications over there. But again, they like to hide these things. They like to romanticize these things. They want to demonize, because they still want to reserve that right to control us.
Right.
They want to go experience it, get their back blown out overseas. But then if they can come here, they want to keep the simps in place or keep a man in place so they can always have that insurance policy so they can have both options available to them. They want it all, to be honest with you. It really comes down to being just a selfish, self-centered person. That's why they try to demonize the men, to try and shame them from exercising their options and exercising their freedom. So 100% total control, which is a greedy, selfish, narcissistic person.
And Shay got firsthand evidence, man, where she had men call in talking about them being abused. We're going to get into it, but let's finish listening to it, guys. And you guys going to see the front-hand hypocrisy of a lot of these women.
They like that part. They don't give a damn about the fact that they displacing their sister. See, this is the reason why ain't no such thing as a sisterhood among black women. Black women can and will step over your still warm carcass to get your man, sister. Understand that. Know that. And the lovely Miss Nakiva Brown says, oh my God, not Jessie Woo. Yes, Jessie Woo. Yes. Yes. Yes, you know how black women like to do that. You know what my box said? Yes. Yeah, they like to do that. Yes, sir. Fair use. Fair use.
Right. Yeah, they're not getting that. Right. Yeah. At the time, I saw that kind of gender roles were being disrupted in Jamaica because of the expansive numbers of African American women tourists who are going there. Right. Yeah. So it's disrupting some of the gender stuff that's happening there. And so the book is about happiness. It's about leisure. It's about joy and sex and intimacy. But the umbrella of it all is like, how are we being black in the U.S. and Jamaica, and how do we experience these different types of white supremacy that either kill us or bring us down? Exactly. How we take care of each other in that moment.
How are now the African American women assimilating into the Jamaican culture?
So what I loved about this particular group of women was that they engage in something I call traveling with diasporic heart. So they don't stay at all-inclusive. Okay. They specifically target hotels, transportation companies that are owned by Black Jamaicans, and constantly as they return, they give their money back to those companies. So they were very intentional about how their American dollars could affect Jamaica. But yes, there is a lot of tension between African American women and Jamaican women because there's an assumption is that you're going there to steal men, to have sex with men.
Is the assumption wrong? Is the assumption wrong, my good brothers?
All right, freeze. Freeze.
Oh, God bless him.
Man, guys, y'all look at this.
That's a BBL. That can't be real.
Guys, y'all look at this. Y'all look at this, guys. The evidence don't lie.
Oh my God.
He's taxing that, man. And this guy looks very young. But see, guys, here's the problem. Some of these young boys were solicited by some of these older women. But see, the thing about their tricking is quiet. It's quiet because it's projecting. And they're getting angry, and some of these sim servers are getting angry because they don't want to use these women just for sex. They don't want to give them money. But now that the guys are getting passports and traveling abroad, now they realize that sex alone is not enough. They got to give them penis and sex. But you guys see it firsthand, the thinking errors, the cognitive dissonance, the hypocrisy of a lot of these so-called women that's more or less castigating on black men. What's your take on this picture, Peaceful Life?
That's purely entertainment, first of all. I don't know if that's real or that's a BBL.
No, it's real. It's real.
It's a real deal?
I think it's real.
You think that's real kosher?
Right, I think it's real.
All right, because, BBL craze is going crazy out here. I just dropped the video today about that sister that said about natural women are broke. But again, that could be real. Like you said, it's real. I don't know, brother. I don't know. But either way, he's about to dive in that. And I don't know what his tip is for that, but I don't know, man.
But what's your take on it, man? When you see this, man, are you shocked? To say the least?
I'm not shocked because like I said, I've witnessed this throughout my life. Being born in the islands, growing up in the islands, and seeing these women come down there on a regular basis. Like this pounding out in the islands has been going on for ever since I was a little kid. These women have been coming down there getting their backs blown out. Again, a problem with women like them and the Sisterhood Coalition is that they're always operating on this budget. So there's very few of them that can afford to keep up with these brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because what they try to do is fall in love and try to make these men the men that they supposed to have or wanted to have, but they don't want to pay the price. That's where they fault at. So they go over there, they get pounded out, but it's just hypocrisy of them even having anything to say to men. At least the men, when they go overseas, they're looking for traditional women. And they're trying to get traditional women. They're trying to get wives. They're trying to get girlfriend. Or even if they go for the experience, whatever they go for, they're at least willing to provide value for whatever they're going to get. These women over here, because there'll be a bunch of them on the boat going down there, and many of them can't afford the services long-term that they want or desire. So it's just like I say, pounding out on a budget. They're getting pounded out hard. And And you know, like I said, what like you said, they're going to go for some of the younger guys. Some of the younger guys, you know, a couple of dollars, a couple $100 or $100 or so. That's a lot of money down there, man.
And some of these guys are young, man. You know, they talk about the abuse by some of these women, but people don't talk about it. It's hush hush. But they got the damn nerve to be worrying about what grown men are doing with their bodies and their money, but they don't talk about what the women are doing. I mean, the hypocrisy, guys, is appalling, guys. Get the likes up to the 7-2 that are listening, man. The robot just texted me. He said, tell the people to get the likes up. And also, guys, donate to the channel. Get the likes up. All right, we'll get back into it.
The lovely ladies of Jamaica wrong for assuming that? Really?
Now look at this guy. He looks a little underage, but you see, guys, not an issue. You don't have an issue with these women spending money and using these poor men in poor countries to get their swerve on. Not an issue at all. Keep listening.
Really? They're just making it up in their head? Is that it? It has no basis in fact, really? Really?
Look how young that kid look right here, man. That looks like a little kid, man.
Oh, yeah.
You see that kid? Hold tight. Hold tight.
Good brothers? Are the lovely ladies of Jamaica wrong for assuming that? Really? Really? They're just making it up in their head? Is that it? It has no basis in fact, really? Really?
Is that a kid or is that a grown man?
Well, I look like a young guy, but he's probably the watch out and probably the condom delivery man. Who knows? But
they're just making it up. And yet and still, the lovely ladies of the community want to give the brothers a hard way to go for exercising their own options. Options for me, but not for thee. And they have no problem whatsoever trampling over their Jamaican sisters to do it. Yeah. You cannot make this shit up.
There was a lot of tension. I think the one spot where I saw that women were able to connect was around motherhood. So if you are looking for your person, I would say just really hold on to the notion that self-care is not only about like massages or only about meditation and prayer and connect. It's about connection, right?
We know all about the connection. We know what they connecting to. We know all about what these lovely ladies of the community are really connecting to, don't we?
Big, juicy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they connected to. They're getting a connection, all right. They're making connections. I'm done with this.
What's gonna make me feel good? This one was talking about in this information ed about Bianca Williams talking about Jamaican women and all that. What was the whole epigenesis?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I guess what got people interested in the book is Jamaican women were actually complaining because I know dudes are going to think we're exaggerating. There are planes full of black women. Whole planes.
Yep.
Like, for real. And by the way, there was an article saying that they literally had to change some rules about the hotels with the BBL stuff because it's so many and they don't do that. They're not a hospice care thing. It was something about the seats. And same thing with the planes too. They had to kind of issue a notice, but people do not understand because it's organized and it's been organized. This stuff like Mocha Fest has been around since like 2016, 15. And it's the next one is supposed to be in Greece. You know, that's an Instagram page I followed. I haven't gone to any myself, but you know, because it was like in the list of categories of travel things I've followed, like a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, so the point is, she wrote the book, and the way she sells it is she sells it what Marty just said: 6 foot, 6 inches or whatever, and 6 figures. Well, they know they're not getting the money because they know mathematically that's not what it is, and they're running that no. So they're gonna get the other stuff like black women do. And what they do is they go overseas to get that. That is what they do. This is why when dudes talking game and talk about you gotta do all this other crap, this is what they're doing. Now keep in mind, women get to choose who they want to have sex with.
Right.
And it is much more likely that a dude that's an 8 will maybe not commit to but have sex with a woman that's like a 6. That's way more likely. Yet they're going all the way over there and they're doing that. And they've been doing that. It is like anywhere the white woman has been, the black woman is going. That's pretty much what that is. And so what's important about this video is the way she sells it is she sells it as black women have no options because black men, she won't say it this way, but black men have traditionally just not been up to the task. So we have to do what we have to do. And so it's this, that's why they call it trans, intersectionalism, transnationalism, because they justify it by saying we're going to other places in the diaspora to find a love that black men just won't give us. Under the guise of these girl trips and the book that she wrote, she was pretty honest about the book. Her family was getting mad. It got to the point where this stuff was being an addiction. The way she writes it. This is an African-American woman. And they were talking about how they were moving. It's crazy. And the thing is, nobody's saying anything because black men don't care. Just like how, for the most part, black men don't really care about black women dealing with white men. Not like how white men care in reverse. And so, again, to keep it simple, black men are resource capital. Remember the article that said that there is no black sperm? And they're talking about sperm is worth $1,500 to $2,500, even though they paying black men $70. I could definitely see a situation where they start importing black sperm. I definitely, because they're talking about bidding wars and stuff, and I'm actually proud of black men that ain't no black sperm in the sperm base.
But yeah, but here's a question: imported from where?
Africa.
That's not what they want, though.
I'm just saying there's none. So when there's not I
want to show you guys something in conjunction with this. Peace of Life, I want you to let that percolate a little bit and tell me what you're thinking about. But I want to show you guys something. I was on Dennis' page, and I want to show you guys something. Dennis is talking about, they're talking about how these boys were more or less, how some of these boys were, how can I say it? Celested, I'll just say that. But he said, I can give you accounts of sexual escapade with North American European women while in Camp Kron. And I was below the age of 18. I'm from Barbados. Admittedly, most of these interactions were with European women, but quite a few of them were American. And of the American ones, a handful of them were black. Not many, though. Only 3 that I can remember for sure while I was about 16. But they were grown women of at least 25 years of age. Thank you, brother. Good morning. Yes, I would like to talk about these encounters. I'd like for you to share your story with my audience. What day are you available perhaps this weekend? What do you guys take on that? Because this is abuse. Because if men were doing the same thing, it would be a national outcry. What's your take on the evidence that you're seeing?
Oh, absolutely. If anything that men do that doesn't involve servitude to the community is considered abuse, or serving these women here in the West. It is outrageous. I mean, that right there is I can't even say the word on YouTube, but taking advantage of young people, and exploiting them, And again, these women go over there, they're thirsty, and they, it's cheap for them. So they don't have any mercy, they don't have any consideration, and that's the problem. But the problem becomes too is they're still not winning, because when men have a legitimate reason to go overseas, a lot of these women have had the opportunity to have husbands for so long and had good relationships. They just chose to be radical feminists or not be what men desire. So they've had the options. It's totally different situation. So they're really out here exploiting the situation, taking advantage of the situation, and the hypocrisy is real. They're really the one out here exploiting people. They're the real sex tourists, because they have mismanaged their youth. They have not taken advantage of the opportunities to date quality men. They have dated the Chads and the Tyrones in their young ages and gotten pounded out. So they've chosen to be these women that are out of shape or undesirable women. So they've chosen this life. So now they're going, because they haven't really put any work into being the type of woman that a man would want, they're going over there now. And when they're blaming, they're trying to cast that upon the man over here. They're trying to redirect that same thing towards the men, when really they've been the problem for so many years. And this is disturbing, to be honest. It's disturbing.
Shout out to what Dennis is saying. Dennis is talking about the hypocrisy. Shout out to Dennis Sperling. He said about surviving the passport holes exposed. This man, Rim Chapman, said, as a passport bro since 1970, I'm writing you from Bogota, Colombia. Thank God that you have the testicles to tell it like it is. I'm so glad that you did your research and found the book that exposes these stinking hood red hypocrisy and nastiness. I tell my lady about this blanket. She can't believe that Black American women actually act like this. And finally, thanks to the foreign women who are fighting back and won't be doormats to these hyenas. Keep up the fantastic work. What's your take on that?
Well, absolutely. I totally agree. And that's why I tell these guys, don't back down from them. They have so much skeletons in the closet. Like, that's why, like I said, I hit the fact that I was born in the islands. I wait till they expose themselves so I can say, oh, okay, great. Let me tell you what my personal experience is seeing you broads down there in the beautiful islands and how you behave. But they're the biggest hypocrites of them all. Like I said, it's all about power and control, all about, shaming Black men and trying to prevent them from living free and enjoying their life, because they know that when men go overseas, they're going to get a better value. And the problem with them is they can't do the same thing that we can. Because like I said, America is a gynocracy. They have had so much opportunity. They haven't taken advantage of it. Now these men, when a man goes overseas, an American man, a good brother, he's an undervalued stock.
Right.
When a woman goes overseas, she is roadkill. Let's be honest. They're going overseas in roadkill state. And these guys are like, shh. They don't see, they want to be, the men want to be compensated. Because they're not getting the value out of that woman. So they see this like, okay, I got to mate with this box, this old box. There's no value in there. There's no value in men do not want to eat roadkill. Unfortunately, for women and men, it's totally different. Men have an earned value. We become more women look up. Men look down. Women look up, men look down. We have an earned value. They have an intrinsic value. They're used to support of their value. Men don't want to consume old box. Old box to men is roadkill. Men do not want to eat roadkill. It just men prefer fresh Jacoby beef. That's how men look at cougars and old women. So these women have got to be willing to pay the price. And some of the American Black women are damn cheap. And that's unfortunate. But they are out here exploiting and they're taking advantage. And that's just the way it is. They don't want to. But see, now we're fighting back. Now we're exposing it. Now we're letting the world know, you guys can get the sisterhood. You can pack up on those planes all you want and go to Jamaica and get your back blown out. But we're going to put it out there on Front Street, since you're coming after men living free, men who you've had the opportunity. If you weren't such a radical or feminist radical, you could have been with those men years ago in your youth. You chose your life. So it is what it is.
Let me read these comments. Dennis did a great job exposing it. Well, some of the men actually have. He said, Black women have been engaged in sex tourism as far back as the 70s. Black American women were going to countries like Jamaica, the Bahamas, and this is your country, Bahamas, and the Dominican Republic, and are paying the local men for sex. It must be pointed out that they're not only having sex with grown men, they're also having relations with underage boys in these countries. That's pedophilia. Black American women in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s are soliciting underage boys for intimacy. Furthermore, many of these BWs are taking these sex trips to foreign countries, are either married or in long-term relationships. There have been reports of BAW giving these men STDs and getting pregnant by foreign men because they don't use any protection with these men. Black American women are hypocritically accusing Black American men of sex tourism, sex trafficking, pedophilia in countries where these things they've been doing the same thing. And that's why I say Stella never stopped tricking. Stella never stopped tricking. They still tricking. But the thing about it, like Megan said, they're tricking y'all because y'all thought that they weren't tricking. But this is what Megan said.
They tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
Yeah, they tricking y'all, man. That's what they've been doing. They've been doing all the tricking themselves, but they are projecting because they don't want you to know what they're doing. They're getting angry because they scared you can go have some fun. But they don't want you to have fun or have the same fun that they've had. That's what the 76 that are watching, guys. We've had three donors. Get the likes up, guys. Donate to the channel. Share the stream, please. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to get deeper into it, but donate to the channel. Donations been down tonight for some reason, but I'm grateful to the 7-8 that are watching. So let's get back into it. Hold tight. Get back into the other part of the show. Hold on.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
What's that stuff that's that natural sweetener? I don't want that. I want real sugar.
Stevia?
But if it's that
stevia,
or
guava,
water, and I want something sweet. So I hear what you're saying from a practical standpoint, but I'm saying that's why I say I can see a future. But my point is...
but Anderson, before you go on with that point, I just want to say, this whole thing about sperm donation and in vitro fertilization, that's the height of a woman's hypergamy. I don't think you can get... He's a $200,000 brother in Japan. They never coming for him.
Yes, sir, right.
Let's see what they'll do. Oh, he's a super predator? Oh, yeah, news at 11. Let's get him. You know, and the sad thing is that's what you've got to deal with, and you have to know how to navigate it. It is extremely mentally exhausting being a black male in America. It just is.
Yeah,
and nobody will ever understand that but us. And it's sad that you have a black man working for this media organization who didn't put enough forethought or enough insight into this before it, but then to come on there and tell these black women, oh, how do you feel that they're talking bad about black women? Meanwhile, they told you did you notice I pointed it out when you walked through it. They told you, I didn't know anything about this. You called me and you told me to watch it. I didn't know nothing about it. I got my son his passport. They didn't know anything about this stuff.
Right.
And this dude had his agenda to bring you down. But they're never going to interview me. They don't want me because they know I'm ready for them. They know I see them a mile away. Right. And that's just what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Right. Brother Elmer, how you doing, sir? And I'm sure you've been listening. This whole negative fiasco or diatribe against Austin Holloman, how's this been percolating in your subconscious about the oppression and the emasculation of black men?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. You know, what's up, everybody, with the panel? I mean, you know, like I said, I have the same opinion. Austin did a very excellent job. You know, the way he conducted himself, really proud of him, because you don't get a lot of second chances when it comes to stuff like that. And I don't mean like what happened with the initial thing. I mean like how he responded to it on like a platform like that. So that's definitely good. And I'm pretty sure that's not going to be shared out there because it's a good look, and that's typically how they do that. So I agree with that. What I will say is this has happened before. This happened during the apocalypse thing. And that was really one of the unofficial births of Manosphere 2.0. And you see how big that got. This is, you know, pre-Kevin Samuels and all that. It was a similar thing with a lawyer that wanted to get with a Caucasian man and pretty much make it like what we're doing is hate speech. This is when YouTube, like when a lot of big advertisers were really kind of going to YouTube about different things, you know, when the conservatives, just like the Trump situation, right? And putting their ads in front of, you know, certain videos. And they tried to use that to dismantle our entire space. And a lot of Jews didn't even know about each other. It's funny because they had certain people on the list that were actually like Derrick Jackson-like folks, you know, and it did harm a lot of people's channels. But for the most part, a lot of stuff exploded, and that was a lot worse than what this is. It didn't get on the news and stuff, but as far as its ability to affect us, so this stuff has happened before, and a lot of people have learned from that, and the space is a lot bigger since then. So I just want to remind everybody of that. As far as what that dude did, I mean, this is what they say about older black men, man. This is why, a lot of times people get a rap. I'm usually not on that train, but I'll give him credit at the very least for letting him express himself and not actually turns into that. And honestly, it speaks for itself if you actually dig into the past of what the women that he brought on there was. She's a single mother, even though she comes from a 2-parent home. I believe she has 2 kids by 2 different men. I'm not judging. My own mother has 3 kids by 3 different men.
Now, Peace of Life, this was in response to the bad belt chick talking about they over there tricking. Art imitates life, man, and it's so strange. The woman that was accusing Austin Hoffman of tricking, she was a OnlyFans model. I think you did what's your take on this hypocrisy, man, and the level or the lack of self-awareness, to say the least?
America is the capital of tricking for the world. From OnlyFans to thirst, everybody's got a thirst. A lot of these women have thirst. Every time I go to Twitter, to TikTok, to Facebook, there's a thirst trap being put on there. The women love going down to Mexico, love going down to Brazil and other places to get BBLs for the thirst economy. They try to monetize their body. That's why they talk about 6 foot 6 inches, 6 figures. What is that? You're selling your box. That's what America is. So when women talk about tricking, it is the biggest, it's laughable when from dinner dates to professional, meal dates, using guys for money, setting guys up to get robbed for money. There's videos all over TikTok and Instagram about how to exploit money out of men, how to use them. There's sugar babies. There's all kinds of things. America is the capital, the trick capital of the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it is a trick capital, man, and the lack of accountability placed towards some of the women is appalling.
But I mean, stuff happens, but at the same time, I mean, just look. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm done. Just look at the first black woman that was on there, and then her. It was doing the majority of talking. Just off of presentation alone. Don't even get into the fact that she may have an OnlyFans page or all that. Just look at the presentation and how he thought, how he had a suit. The other woman was very well dressed, and then she was literally looking like she literally just got out the bed or something like that. And I'm not trying to roast her, but what I'm talking about is this is an image. And you want to talk about black men are making y'all look bad. Nobody makes African American women look worse than African American women.
Right.
Yeah, you look at what they spend their money on. I mean, you got stuff like the Woman King. Shonda Rhimes is probably going to be a multi-$100-million person off of this stuff. This is what you pay for at a very rate. So it's kind of like y'all want to focus on us. But the stuff speaks for itself. So y'all covered all of it. And I think him doing that interview really shows a contrast. Then you got to think about this. His age compared to all these people. Like, I'm not trying to bring Jason Black into it, but you got people that are in almost 50 years old trying to drop the lightning bolt on this dude. And these are people that try to say, we need to be pro-black, we need to be united, we need to do this. Yet when something that you don't like happens, let me tell you, the character of how somebody is based on how you deal with a situation or deal with someone you don't agree with who you like. That's when the real you comes out. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, you know what? You said something. He's an old man and, consistent with Grady and a lot of these old men that more or less assume that women of today are like their mothers and their grandmothers. This poor old fool is a gravy train simp. Yeah, it's gravy train simply. Shout out to my man Azrael, Isaiah first of his name. Austin, you'll get a meal if you deserve it. Meanwhile, Lori Harvey, Daddy told me to remember that I'm always the prize. Note the difference, gentlemen. Yeah, it's hypergamy on steroids. And shout out to my man, Beautiful Lies. Shout out to my man, Beautiful Lives. He said, salute KC Dynamic Panel tonight. Listening in while watching the game. Shout out to my brother, El Guapo. And El Guapo, because you've shown so much love and kindness. El Guapo, you are the #1 sponsor of this stream. Thank you, sir. It's okay for black men to flex, Edward, and then I'm going to let Pablo pop in. And actually, I'm going to ask Pablo, and then, because I asked the question earlier, Pablo Frescobar, fellow Eagle like myself, is it okay for black men to flex in a time when black men have been heavily oppressed?
Yes.
Talk about it.
Black men need to start running. We got to stop. Black men should not have a policy of appeasement. One thing that this is exposed is there's too many dudes, and it doesn't matter the age, that in this space that has a policy of appeasement. They want to be just left alone. I'm not saying you have to be in the forefront of speaking out. I'm not saying that. But don't get in other people's way when they're trying to basically fight for you having a better freedom to do stuff. One thing I will say, and I was born in 86. But one thing that doesn't get talked about as we're going into Black History Month is everybody was cool with Dr. King and Malcolm X now, particularly Malcolm X. They want now that everything's after the fact. But the reality is you have a lot of people, black people, that were not for Malcolm X, were not for what he was trying to do. They were not for Dr. King. They just wanted to be left alone because at the end of the day, they thought it was, I'm talking about men, women too, but I'm talking about men mainly. They just thought you're just making, whitey mad. And now they want to, after, even in the segregations when the young brothers were sitting in the restaurants and the diners and all of that, they didn't want to cause trouble. Now, fast forward, we're dealing with a lot less racial. All we're talking about really is censorship at this point. And you got new dudes that are sitting here talking about Austin's doing too much, Austin's doing this, Austin's doing that, where I'm very aware of the travel community in multiple demographics, what Caucasians are doing, what black women are doing. And that's something. So that's the answer to that question. Another thing I'm going to say and be real.
Shout out to my man, D. Scott, for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Let me read you some of these comments. He said,
but the one thing that's really annoying me about this conversation is the idea that here's some facts for you. Black women have more passports than black men. That is a fact. And that's despite black men obviously outnumber black women in the military, which is easier access to get a passport. Black women are traveling more than black men. Now, I will say this is my opinion. I can't register this as fact, but I do strongly believe this. And I think this year we need to put evidence on this. I think black women sex tour at probably 3 to 4 times the rate as black men.
Now, Ingram, you're from Bahamas. Once again, you saw sex tourism in Bahamas. You saw it firsthand. He made a very valid point about the sex tourism abroad, and he said he feel that they do it at a high rate. What's your take on what Edward was saying, man? Unmute yourself.
I think he's absolutely correct. They do it at an extremely high rate.
Right.
And they're at a point now in this current time where they're recruiting other women to go sex tourism with them. What I mean by that is there's a coalition of them. They're even recruiting and trying to break up relationships. They'll take married women with them, single women with them. I mean, recently single women, they're trying to convince all of these women that this is the norm. So yeah, it's become more aggressive now. And I know a whole bunch of them. Like I said, I deal with these women all the time. And they literally have a coalition of women that like to go down to Jamaica and get their backs blown out. And they will take women in relationships with them too. Don't think it's just these single black women. They will take a married woman with them and get her turned out there. But like I say, a lot of them, many of them are tricking on a budget, because what inevitably they do after they get that taste over there and they get pounded real good down there, they try to turn these guys into their regular men, but they don't want to pay the fee like the white women are willing to pay. Like there's a few women that are like higher income earning women that are willing to pay long term, but a lot of them don't want to pay the price. So the white women will always, beat them out or box them out, because they will. You see that old lady, that white woman willing to pay. I'm sorry, they're willing to pay.
Hold tight. So Sugar Bum said, well, let me get this straight. Passport bros can slander American women, but we can't slander them. Well, Sugar Bum, we never slandered black women, but the evidence is astounding, as you can see for yourself. Passport bros never say anything about American black women. But if you call this slander, then you're delusional, because I'm going to show you the evidence. She said slander. But it is no slander, because the evidence is appalling, to say the least.
Me, just because I exist. And they were
from girlfriends.
Hold tight.
And
all the white women doing it.
Think about
Hold tight.
books that are being studied in universities.
No slander, there.
And there are women who are doing it, and it's documented in this book by Bianca C. Williams. They're literally saying women old as your grandmother are going down to these spots in Ocho Rios, these spots in Montego Bay, and they are having young men as young as.
If you call that slander, then that's confirmation bias. A lot of these boys have been denigrated and more or less used for sex by these old broads.
Yeah.
So you can. It's not slander. That's evidence. And so this is what I know with a lot of people, man. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about death. They deny the evidence. Like I show people the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue through ad hominem attacks, and they will fight you or flee. The evidence is here.
Right.
You cannot deny the evidence, man. Talk to me on Peaceful Life. Shout out to my man Peachtree Ministries, because we know a lot of these women got cognitive dissonance. Sharing our experiences and slander are two different things, no doubt. And that's what they do when they don't have any arguments. They use ad hominem attacks.
Well, here's the problem with that too. Is okay. She said slander. I'm telling you that I'm from the Bahamas.
Right.
I've walked these beaches. Would you like me to get my Bahamian passport and show you?
Well, listen.
The reality is that what she's doing is trying to cape for a lot of the women, because when you hold women accountable, what happens to them is they try to spin the narrative and become victims. So what she's trying to do is become a victim of what women have been doing in these spaces, which is slandering men. You see, every action can get an equal and opposite reaction, Sugar Bum. We're not running from you, because most of the brothers live righteous lives and they do the right thing. You have slandered men, came here on the internet, attacked men. You have slandered their name. You've accused them. Austin Holloman was accused of a crime.
Right.
Innocent man. You've slandered our names. You drew first blood. We were living life in peace and living life free. But you want to accuse us of something when the overwhelming evidence suggests that you're guilty of what you accuse us of. At the end of the day, if anybody's a slanderer, it is you women that are coming after these brothers that are living free, that are passport bros, that are other men that are just living free. So you're calling these men sex tourists, you're calling them tricks or whatever else, but you guys are the biggest tricks on the planet. And not only are you tricks, you are tricks on a budget, because many of the times the white women beat you all out in the islands because they're willing to pay these brothers some more money than y'all are.
Right,
Slander.
right.
It's a joke.
Well, it's classic gaslighting. Shout out to my man Pop Smoking Ghost. He says it's not slander if it's true, and that's a deal, right? And you're a million percent correct. It's not slander if it's true,
That's a deal,
and it's
right?
true.
That's a deal, right?
But y'all can call shade mammies. Y'all can call them anything you want to call them, but it doesn't change the fact that black men are leaving. Black men see the hypocrisy. Black men see the denigration. Black men see the lack of respect. And black men see the mental illness. And some of these women, if I had to put them in my office and diagnose them, they definitely have a lot of thinking errors. A lot of have unresolved mental illness. And a lot of them are in a state of denial, which is an ego defense mechanism. And so it's appalling, guys, to say the least. It's appalling because, I didn't think they were tricking, but, Megan came to me, that robot told me, she said, once again, Ingram, Megan said, they tricking y'all.
They tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
They tricking. They still tricking. They've been tricking for about 40 to 50 years, man, going abroad, going to your country, Bahamas, because you're from Bahamas. But they tricking. They've been tricking, But now they're in denial because now black men got evidence. And even if we didn't have no evidence, we were going to do what's best for us anyway. But they tricking. They've been tricking. And that's why black men are leaving, because the mental illness is unreal. The lack of accountability is unreal because you're from Bahamas. The stuff that men tolerate here in America, do Bahamian men tolerate that?
No, man, nobody putting up with that nonsense. But the problem is that, like you said, with people like Sugar Bum and the rest of those types of women that like to come into these spaces and like to tell men or try to control the narrative, what they really try to do is control the narrative because they really want to be victims. They want to be victims. The majority of men have been out here. They've been available. Those women have not really taken advantage of those opportunities to be with those men. Now these men are just like, you know what? We're going to go live life and go live free because everything is about a victim narrative. They're always going to try the color purple narrative. Make it about them being abused or them being victims. Right.
It's always victimization.
Right.
They use the same old bullshit narrative. Abuse, victimization, conquered. And it's tired, man. It's a tired trope. We abused, domestic violence. Same old goofy shit, man.
They go pick the lowest frequency dude on the planet that beats women and do things to women. They go pick the most worst dude to go mate with, to get in a relationship with, and then cast a net on all of the brothers, the good, honorable, hardworking brothers out here, and try to make that about them. You picked that dude. You know that dude was psychotic. What? Because he had swagger, and now he's beating your ass, and now you got a problem. Now you want to be a victim? You had choices of the men to choose from. So, and that's what you see with these victims. They try to change the narrative. They They come into men's spaces trying to change the narrative, and it just doesn't work.
Well, it's fun. It's funny to me, man. Bruce Lee said you got to be like water. And to the men that are listening, I want you guys to be like water. And we're going to explain why. Because y'all calling Shay mammies ain't going to change the narrative.
Right.
Y'all get mad at Shay for telling every black woman to take a stand and tell the truth. You got these goofy women calling them mammies, calling them all kinds of names. But that's not going to change the narrative that some of you going to be by yourselves. As the world get worse, y'all want black men to leave. That's fine. Your ass is going to be by yourself. When the barbarians come at your door, you're going to be by yourself. When black men start checking out, you're going to be by yourself. And black men are going to remember this. Because like I said, that's displaced aggression. Somewhere there's a visceral level of hatred based on the thinking era of overgeneralization where you castigate all black men for whatever some old dusty jackass did to you in the past. And you say all black men. So that means my dad, which is the innocent black man, I'm innocent, you're innocent, and many of these brothers, I don't know none of these women, but we're supposed to pay because y'all got with some of these goofballs that ran through y'all, use you up, hurt your feelings, and left you with bastard kids. But then all of a sudden,
right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
y'all gonna blame all black men.
they had babies with Pookie, and they all mad now, and mad at the dude down the street working at IBM, or the guy that's mechanic down the street, or the guy is an honorable, hardworking guy at the post office, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or engineer, or whatever. That brother ain't had nothing to do with you mating with Pookie and Ray and these some of these guys that are not really putting in the work or becoming good men. So you blame this cast, like you said, you cast a dispersion on all these men that had nothing to do
with it,
with your choices in men.
Right.
And you walk past good quality men and you pick trash up off the street to make.
And see, Ingram, I do these shows and I talk about death for a reason. I do it for a reason because that's a classic case of cognitive dissonance.
Oh, yeah.
And see, when you show people the evidence, you know, you got women that act like sugar plum. They have a condition in the clinical world.
What she's going to do is split hairs and try and rebuttal and change the narrative.
And listen, I know Sugar Bum is trolling. I know she's trolling. She's having fun.
She's trolling. Yeah.
She's having fun. But there are women that when you show them the evidence, they have what's called ego syntonia. They crazy as hell, and they think they're supposed to be crazy as hell. And so when you deal with delusional people, after you are going to show them the evidence, and they still think the way that they feel is normal, even though you show them the evidence, you can't do nothing with delusional people.
Well,
so you don't argue with them.
Yeah,
you don't fight them. You just walk away and start whistling.
Yeah,
you just start whistling. You start whistling and just walk away because you can't deal with delusional people. We've shown people firsthand evidence, and they still try to damn find a way to justify BS, man. But they wonder why black men are going to feminine women that are fine, don't have kids, ain't been ran through. But they wonder why black men are leaving, man. And, you know, and it's sad because, you know, when black men stop, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. But when black men stop talking, then you need to start getting worried. But this is just a display of unity where black men are coming together. And it's not a black man issue, it's an American man issue. And, you know, Edward did a masterful job talking about, I'm going to get back into it in a minute, but he did a masterful job talking about these girl trips. Michael Basin knew about these girl trips. When some of you men let your wives go on girl trip, you tell, listen, if you go on a girl trip, you won't be with me. Because some of these women are getting their backs blown out when they go on these girls trips. I'm not saying every woman is doing it, but many of them are doing it. And like I said, you are from the Bahamas.
Oh, so, yeah.
A person can't tell you something you didn't see with your own eyes. Tell the people the story about the man that took care of his family by having sex with American women.
Oh, there's plenty of men that do it. I mean, the men, it's a source of resource. The biggest problem is that you have is that a lot of Black American women don't want to pay. You can't be tricking on a budget. That's the problem with them. They can rent for a week, but when that money, that couple $100 run out, because remember, they're paying for all these weaves, they're paying for all these fake nails and eyelashes. I never knew eyelashes was that expensive, but these things cost a lot of money. Right. So if you lashing it up and nailing it up and fake hairing it up, them weaves be expensive. So you can't afford to rent a Jamaican dude for too long because that money run low fast. The difference between them and us is that with men, many men, see, what I want to tell these women is very simple. Man will not work for old box. Men will not work for old box.
Right.
Okay? So women look up. Men have no problem being providers and protectors and taking care of a woman. That's feminine, traditional, whatever. But if your woman is 10, 15, 20 years older than a man, the benefit of him being with her is that she's going to pay and fund his life. The problem is that these women are expecting these men to transition into men that they would have here in the state. This is why they're trying so hard to control the brothers over here, because the brothers over there are looking to be taken care of. Right. Listen, right. No,
you're 1,000,000% correct. What women don't understand, when they travel abroad, it's not the same for American men to travel abroad. If you travel abroad by nature, your nature is to be taken care of. I mean, we know that you might got your own money, but those men are expecting women to take care of them. Women don't like to take care of men. Right. Women in general don't want to take care of a man. Right.
No man is going to work hard for a box that could have birthed him.
Right.
What you see, maybe you see every once in a while, you see like a cougar relationship that's successful. Even the actor, what's the guy, Aquaman, and he was having a problem with her, but that was some challenge. Man will not work for old box. I'm sorry. If a box is older than a man, old box is roadkill for men. This is some pound and move, right? So if you're successful, bro, okay, 10, 11 o'clock on a Friday, okay, Saturday night right now, 10, 11 o'clock at night, right? A guy will pound out some roadkill, which is a cougar. 11, 10, so some of these cougars look really nice. 10, 11 o'clock, right now, it's cougar time right now. It's about 9:47 on the East Coast, right? If you at a club or something and you see that 50-year-old and she got that nice little badunkadunk, and you like, man, and these young girls are acting up, a dude will pound out that cougar. That's roadkill. Look,
right.
eating roadkill is better than having no meat at all for some brothers. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always say dirty water will put out the fire, not that the water's dirty.
But let me tell you something. Them old white women that look like raw chickens, right. I can't mess with them.
I don't know what your experience is going to be tomorrow morning.
Right.
Tomorrow morning you may get a scare.
Right.
But dudes will slam that. But after all, that box is old. Dudes are not getting serious with that. So women have a strategic disadvantage to men. That's why they're trying to control us.
Right.
They try to control our every move because they know that we're going to get a better value than them. And they
superior.
Don't have us superior value. And they don't have us in the insurance policy because we don't mind taking care of women because that's the natural order of things.
That's the natural order of things, right. And what they don't understand too, when you go to patriarchal countries, you can't bump off at your gums.
Right.
Those men expect you to take care of them. And many of them use them. Like they always talking about these men want green card. Those men will use you. And they're going to the bad bill white women because they got more money. So in the end of the day, black men are celebrated abroad. That's why I do this, because I love seeing black men happy. Shout out to my 2 cents for the $9 super sticker.
That's a deal, right?
Sugar Bum
that's
being
a bet,
controlled.
right?
She
That's
said
a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
For the travel fund. And then also shout out to Almond. She said Pookie isn't even around long enough to beat him. Right. You're right, sis. I agree with you 1,000%. I totally agree. Hold tight. Shout out to my man D May. D May said, shout out to the brothers just passing through, no doubt. Thank you, D May. I appreciate it, brother. And shout out to Black Girl 417 for the $5 super sticker. Thank you as well. But yeah, you can't deny the evidence. Peaceful life. This is the evidence. Hold tight.
It's teenage boys banging their back out.
There is literally an entire system that is set up to support women's sexual behavior, women's sexual fantasies. And it's not being criticized.
Women have been doing it for decades longer than men. What do I mean by that? There's a movie out called, years out. Stella Got Her Groove Back. You might be too young to remember it. Okay. So
I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I remember it. My parents didn't.
Stella Got Her Groove Back was about this old lady who went down to Jamaica to get some bamboo from a young Jamaican man. Okay. What they're masking is the fact that young man was working. You understand what I'm talking about? He was.
What's the term?
Rent a dread.
Rent a dread?
Rent a dread.
Like renting a car, like rent a dread?
Yeah, rent a dread. Women would come to the Jamaica and see the Rastaman them on the beach and, and them come to have a good time and rent a dread for that time that they're there.
This reminds me of hookup culture.
Well,
is that a hookup culture?
Rent a dread, hold tight, rent a dread. Shout out to him again for my man Pop Goes to Smoke. He said that over 25-year-old females are nothing but a bill at this point. Don't waste your time. And that's a deal, right? I totally agree.
That's a deal, right?
Don't waste your time.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Hold tight. All right. All right. Let me finish listening to this whole time.
That's another aspect that they don't want to talk. They want to, and oh my God, this book talks about how, we're fighting feminism and intra-racism, and this is how we're fighting against the power structure by going there and they're getting your back toe up. That's what you're doing. And then white women, shout out to all the white women, because you always.
I mean, can you imagine somebody, man?
Hey, look, Coach.
Man, look at that back, man. Look at that.
Man, look, if you want to Coach, let me say this to you right now.
Right, go ahead, bro.
This is the money. The money is not those black women, man. I keep telling you, man. If the brothers in the islands, they prefer this because it pays. Look, you know how much money that woman probably got? That Western Union's gonna be on time. That Western Union's gonna be on time every week.
That's nasty.
You ain't gonna have
man.
to chase her for that money. The sisters, they ain't gonna try and pay. See, she understands that young men will not work for old box. So she accepts her old box being pounded out. She's willing to pay the price. She's willing to give up the money. The sisters be trying to transform that. So you're going to come to America and get a job and take care of me. You know, dude's like, what? Go on, girl, go on. You up here, get over here. You know, they be trying to change. This woman knows. I'm telling you, this is the money, man. The money is right here, Kosher. Right. This is what the islands is looking for, right here, baby. Sorry, the sisters. You got to get paid. That's the way it is, man.
Yeah, man. She
got that retirement. She got the especially the European retirement. She got the Social Security. She got everything going, man.
But that's disgusting, man. That's disgusting. I mean, that's disgusting, man. That woman, she like the crypt keeper, man.
I bet you his pocket's full of money, though.
That's true, but yeah, but yeah, man. What? How can he get happy looking at that nasty mess? But the evidence don't lie. Hold tight. I'm gonna drop a link in a minute. Hold tight. This poor old fool is a gravy train simp. Yes, gravy train simple. Shout out to my man Azrael first of his name. Austin, you'll get a meal if you deserve it. Meanwhile, Lori Harvey, Daddy told me to remember that I'm always the prize. Note the difference, gentlemen. Yeah, it's hypergamy on steroids. And shout out to my man, Beautiful Lies. Shout out to my man, Beautiful Lies. He said, salute KC Dynamic Panel tonight.
They thought it was, I'm talking about men, women too, but I'm talking about men mainly. They just thought you're just making, whitey mad. And now they want to, after, even in the segregations when the young brothers were sitting in the restaurants and the diners and all of that, they didn't want to cause trouble. Now, fast forward, we're dealing with a lot less racial. All we're talking about really is censorship at this point. And you got new dudes that are sitting here talking about Austin's doing too much, Austin's doing this, Austin's doing that. Where I'm very aware of the travel community.
All right, guys, this is for Edward Anderson only. Edward, if you're in the building, I want you to come on with me in Peace for Life. We're gonna break this thing down. If anyone else come up, you can't come on. This is for Edward Anderson only. So please do not come on until I tell you. This is for Edward Anderson only.
Hey, Kosher, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
All right. I'm gonna give you a scenario, brother. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You imagine this. You have to pound out 20 BBWs in a month. I'm talking about they coming off the ship fresh and hot and thirsty. Versus pounding out that one old lady that you showed in the image there. And she was your mean squeeze. And she was hitting up your Cash App and your Western Union every week. And she's giving you equal to or better than those 20 BBWs. Which deal you taking?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
These are all bad deals, right?
Yeah, bad damn deals, man. Hold on.
But the stuff speaks for itself. So y'all covered all of it. And, she's a single mother, even though she comes from a two-parent home. I believe she has 2 kids by 2 different men. I'm not judging. My own mother has 3 kids by 3. I'm not trying to roast her. But what I'm talking about is this is an image. And you want to talk about... All
right, Ed, you on, dog. Let's break this thing down, man. You did a masterful job. Shay Sade did a masterful job. And also Obsidian did a masterful job. This whole diatribe, man, this whole diabolical diatribe about the passport, bro, even with the evidence, and you saw, women coming in making, foolish accusations, man. What's your take on all of it, Edward? Because it's appalling to say the least. But go ahead, brother. Unmute yourself.
Man, appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir, brother.
Yeah, appreciate Peaceful Life. This is a fire stream, man.
Appreciate it, man.
You
Thank
really
you.
broke it down, and I mean, nobody can break it down other than folks that have actually been there. You know, I've read books, I've seen some, but my traveling has been mainly in Asia, and it's not a lot of sisters in Asia.
Right.
Not going for that reason. So, I mean, this is better than what I could do, and I didn't even think about the black women being cheap. And here's the thing, for the people that were talking about slander, black women been doing this for a long time. Ain't nobody been saying nothing yet. Like I always say, if you lie on us, we're going to tell the truth on you.
Right.
And that's generally how black men have approached this. Black women lied on black men for pretty much 30 years when it comes to the talk show hosts and all that stuff. And the black manosphere is relatively, 2010, 12?
Right.
The manosphere, it really started in 15, 16. And now all of a sudden everybody has a problem. And I would even say this with a lot of black men. A lot of black men really didn't have a problem enough to speak up on anything when black women were throwing us under the bus, saying that we're, even in this chat right now, you got somebody literally going from channel to channel. Shout out to Security Box, who just got done interviewing Austin Holloman, talk about how violent black men are. If black men are so violent, why are you in a black male space? You feel pretty safe. You definitely feel pretty safe.
Right. That's an excellent point. Excellent point. Go ahead. Good job. Good point.
So my point is, as far as, but like I said, in this conversation, it's way too many people that are having this conversation that I know that black women travel more than black men. They are outright lying. There's content creators, like ones that have talked about this before. Folks are like willfully ignorant. And this is an open secret. It's just nobody cares, like what you all talked about. So that's like the main thing that I wanted to bring to this argument. If you're gonna have this conversation, let's have it. But what you see is women are getting angry, they're getting upset. And here's another thing. The issue is women have gotten so comfortable with traveling because they've been doing it. And black men have been traveling for a long time, military folks and stuff like that. But black women have gotten so comfortable doing it. They have all this evidence out here between YouTube and TikTok. Like, you literally have women, when they're trying to disparage black men, say, "Oh, you all just now got your passports? Thank you for saying that." So now you can't act like you haven't been doing it.
Right.
You got women talking about men, they be flying men out back to the United States. And so obviously a Peaceful Life gives a lot more context to that, especially somebody that's there, that has lived there, that's actually experienced it.
Right.
And again, I don't care. Like, as far as the dudes, here's the thing. It's a mutual exchange. I mean, as men, it's just sexual access. Men view that a little bit differently than women. And obviously the American dollar is strong. Heck, I mean, these women will have sex with younger dudes in the United States. I mean, that's not frowned upon in this country. I mean, I've always said this, and this may sound controversial, and I'm talking specifically with African American men, because I can't speak to other ethnic groups in the diaspora. I don't believe that there's an age of consent that's actually recognized by African Americans for black males. I don't, and that's not just the women; that's the men too. What do I hear? Oh yeah, he came into his manhood early. You got people like Boozy Badass and stuff that will openly do stuff and say that. So that's like another open secret. If you look the part, you are the part in the eyes of a lot of the black community. Now, obviously, that's not the same for women, and I get why that is. But don't act like that. I mean, think about it this way. Let's take it outside of race. Think about how many times you've seen in the news a white teacher, not even a black one, a white teacher that has gotten caught having sex with her students, and how that's just under the tick marks. That's not even something that's made a big deal. You talk about acknowledge it happened, and it happens over and over and over and over again. That's with Caucasian women, and a lot of times those be with black men. So the hypocrisy is like off the charts, man, and it's so blatantly obvious.
It's blatantly obvious, right? And the crazy thing about it, that shows you how dangerous mental illness can be when you give people. It's almost like, if I saw you walk in my house and steal money and I got it on camera, and then you gaslight and say, "Well, I didn't do it, y'all crazy, or y'all lames, you broke anyway," and you keep trying to deny. That's mental illness, man. and I'm convinced, because due to the lack of accountability, there's a partition of women that make good sisters look bad. You know, when you got women like Shay trying to call out women on bad behavior, or a bevy of women, you know, they get called, like I said, mammies, you know, they don't have nothing in the lexicon. Mammies, conquered, pygmies, old, lames, goofy shit, you know, that people don't even damn care about, because physically you can't F with a real man. You can't F with me. I'm highly educated. My bank account is nice. My credit score is over damn 700. And the truth is, even being the older brother, I wouldn't even look at the typical American woman. I wouldn't even look at them, because they don't meet my standards, man. They ain't got shit to offer but used box and a bad attitude. And, you know, but they think that goofy stuff be making men. It's funny to me now. What they don't understand now, Edward, men are so impervious to the BS now. They use mental kung fu. It doesn't bother them anymore. It's funny. I laugh at it now, because nothing they can say matters now. The damn writing is on the wall, man. and men are saying, you know, you don't qualify. Go ahead, brother.
Like medication, if you take too much to it, you can develop a tolerance. Black men for generations have a certain tolerance, and there's still effects. You got a lot of black men that are guilty. You got black men that have an ego thing. I just on my channel have been going back and forth with folks, because I said too many brothers would rather have they would rather be chosen and have power. And what you see that a lot of the women are responding to is power dynamics. See, the box is on. It's like they want the box to be diamonds. We know that diamonds, the price is controlled. Yes, diamonds are rare, but they're not as rare as how much they cost. The price is controlled. It's controlled to maintain the price. Same thing with oil when it comes to bringing certain renewable technologies online and accelerating that. They want the oil to kind of start to run out first before they really transition into that, because there's a lot of people invested. So if you look at this stuff like markets, and when I say relationships is a market, and the reason why I say that is not take the sex out of it. When you look at people, the way humans relate to each other, there is always a cost benefit analysis there. People may value things differently. Men value things, certain things. Women value certain things, right? Like, for instance, with money, men are not looking for women to really contribute monetarily. No, money is not going to outdo you, but women are. And and so it's not just so what people try to do. I don't know why women believe that they were going to have this conversation about sex tourism and then call it sex trafficking, which is completely baseless. And that's all just designed. That's like using the term great. It's designed to put the fear of God into people in order for them to move. And I'll say this. The main thing they want to stop, Austin is dangerous because Austin represents dudes fucking younger. And what a lot of folks fail to understand is Austin came up in the social media era, which means how these schools are networked when literally a tablet is in the school supply list now. These schools are they're not compartmentalized school by school. Now they're networked. So you can have females that are under 18 and have these social media followings because like that are local. Same thing with dudes if they play basketball or something like that. So the point is nobody talks about how these younger folks, I'm 36. I came in transitioning into that. It wasn't like that when I was in school. They don't understand what these guys are seeing in real life. We're not talking about these guys, like dudes like Austin didn't get on social media, come across the manosphere red pill and got the way he got. No, he was the way he was. And he says this based on his own experience. And it's not black women. Austin does not focus on black women.
It's American women. Yes.
And you know that's true because he has other men that are not black around him as far as in his audience. So the point is, he said, I'll say that because a lot of people saying you haven't tried long enough. So you want them to try long enough so you can get caught up and get somebody pregnant. So now he's in the they want to lock him down to where he can't leave because his baggage. That's why they want you to wait till you're 30. And most of the dudes, by the way, that are traveling are dudes that are relatively older traditionally. They've been married. They've raised their kids. They did their time. Now, for those guys, we're going to call them creepy and weirdo. That's where the sex trafficking BS comes in. And then what they never anticipated is that dudes would dare just put this information out there because it's out there if you know where to look. That's what women are doing. And what they've been doing is, quite frankly, been off the chains. So...
When you hear Peaceful Life being from Bahamas talk about his escapades, and then Peaceful Life, I'm gonna let you rock. But when you hear Peaceful Life being from the Bahamas talk about what he saw, does that confirm what you already knew, Edward?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it did. And I've heard this from other Caribbean guys as well. What he said about Jamaica. Yeah, they probably, if there was an Olympic,
the cost effective.
Yeah. So and so absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you have these beautiful countries. You know, shout out to Rihanna from Barbados. Shout out to the union she got with what's it called? It was also from her dad is from Barbados. And colonialism is a thing. And I mean, we have a beautiful diaspora. And I mean, black men always look to give more than we get. I mean, despite the reputation, black men, because I'll say this. If somebody were to tell me, would you advise an African-American man to travel if you knew, like God said, he would never have sex outside the United States? Without hesitation, I would say yes. Because it's not just about the sex. It's also about getting away from American propaganda. Mm-hmm. It's also finding yourself as a black man outside of what this American society has told you. It's also understanding that the black community is far larger than African Americans. One of the things, and I got to say this, one of the things that really annoyed me, like I have a lot of pride in being an African American and being, ADOS. But one thing that enrages me, because I'm the one that brought intercultural dating into this space, is when you hear black women in particular, I've heard black women call folks dirty feet, throw all of these things. And it's like, we're supposed to be, the Pan-Africanist group. We're supposed to be the group that, people say set the standard. I've heard other people say that. I don't know why they say that, but they say that. And yet this is coming out of our mouths. Can't blame the white man or hip hop music for that. And then again, when people get angry, you find out who they are. And unfortunately, there's a lot of folks that are extremely prejudiced over something as genitals.
Yeah, it's appalling, man. Go ahead, Ingram. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Edward says. And I think the biggest frustration for a lot of the women that come into these spaces is that they can't do what we can do.
Right.
When we go somewhere, we're an undervalued stock. And they look at black men because they know black men are getting a bad deal here in America. The average black men in America, hardworking, honorable, honest black men, is an undervalued stock, unappreciated, very egalitarian in his nature.
Right.
So when he goes off the plane in another country, women are like, love it, back the truck up. And because we haven't earned value, and our value is not so much based upon our physical body, we have to earn our value. And we're always going to be providers and protectors, providers in terms of our value and taking care of a family, we don't mind taking care of a good woman, especially a good traditional quality woman.
Right.
The problem with the sisters is that they try to control the market on old box. Even in the cougar market here in America, they fall in love with these young bros and they try to turn them into traditional relationship, but it's the young brother as a provider because again, and we get men will not pay for old box. If he's anything valuable or he gains any value, like I said, old box is just not valuable to men. We just, roadkill is roadkill. When we get at the club late at night is what we get. So the problem with the sisters, even overseas, and why they are so frustrated with us, because they know that many of them can't afford it. They know that they can't maintain this. So they want to control this market over here with us because inevitably they want to be in a situation where the man is the provider, even with these young guys. You see, like I told you, the white women they know they got to pay.
Right.
They're willing to pay.
Right.
So like I said, the brothers will take, even overseas, if they have two women laying on the beach and they can go with some older white lady versus a black lady, now I'm not being racist or whatever, they're going to go where they think the money's going to come, which is the Western Union is going to come. And the money payout is for the white woman because she understands that to get a younger man to consume that older box, you have to pay. She understands it. The sisters are so egotistical and they so delusional about the value of this box that they have because this is what we have in the culture. They try to muscle these guys even overseas. So they're very disagreeable even overseas. And they can't even, they're trying to control that. but they're also trying to control the brothers over here. So they really aren't winning in any category. So they're going to try their best to control the space, control the narrative, demonize us, make us look horrible because they want to be able to have us here.
Right.
And not allow us to, and try to stop us, which they can't stop us from going overseas.
They can't,
because we know we're a higher value when we leave this
Right.
country. So they want to control that so they can have something to always come back to, or something to hold off to. But the brothers are not buying into that.
They're not. Edwin, when you look at the resilience of black men now, they are, you know, Bruce Lee said, I call the concept mental kung fu. And you got to let water roll off your back like a duck, like water roll off a duck's behind. But men are using mental kung fu. And, you know, I've always said in the past, Bruce Lee said that when you're dealing with the modern woman, you got to be like this.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees.
Mental kung fu, do you see men building resilience to the barbs and the attacks on masculinity? Do you see them building resilience, Edward?
Yeah, but it's still very prominent. I mean, one of the things that's crazy is how many dudes not only abandoned Arthur Holloman, but also how many dudes have been, and this is before Austin, have been attacking black men proudly. I mean, you'll hear things like the United States is where the best women are. That's like the Olympics of dating, which is not true. And most of these people never have been anywhere. Look, I'm from Chicago. Chicago's a great city. But the reality is, great Italians, black, Puerto Ricans is the largest Hispanic population. You know, it's of the Hispanic, like, you know, you got great stuff. But the thing is, America is a country, and then you have cities. Then you have Miami, LA, New York, Houston. You know, these are cities. These are not necessarily like the whole country. And, you know, America is great, but America has a culture problem. And it's not just with black people. It's across the board. And it's been, and with black people, we've just been dealing with it so long. And you still have black men and they think they can John Henry their way out of it. Now you got women talking about you got to have $1 million for compliance. You know, you got, like, it's funny how if you're a black man and you're older and you date, like, let's say you date a 25-year-old and you're like, you know, let's say 40, all of a sudden they trying to put like it's a statutory, you know, versus nobody says nothing about older women dating younger dudes. They know what it is.
Right.
And in fact, they try to celebrate it. I mean, shout out to Angela Bassett, but they still talk about how good she looks for her age, trying to push that wall further and further. It's called I call it sexual politics. And the thing is, are you actually, like, even what some people were saying in the chat, it's all sexual politicking. And it's trying to control the sexual environment. And black women have never had black men. This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say it. It's not that controversial. Where black men have utterly failed. And I would say men in the United States in general. Men are not supposed to, the dating environment is supposed to be very hostile to women. We have made the dating environment, we basically allow women to completely write the rules up and down. And dudes would literally black men are really bad about this. We will compete with other black men.
That's true. That's true.
And we never challenge those rules. It's the same thing in, like, you know, sports, but at the same time, those are owners and stuff like that. But we never push back because dudes believe you should just deal with it. This is why when dudes talk about tricking, for example, I care about if a black man is useful. I don't care about if he's tricking. Now, if it's illegal, that can affect me if I'm directly connected to that person. But he's doing something. And you know what's funny? I'm from Chicago. Tom Joyner, Michael Baisden.
Right. Talk about that. Go ahead.
They used to do these. They used to promote these cruises on the radio. Now, obviously, it was advertised towards older folks and older couples. But this used to be something. They used to do this. They used to go on these cruises, and Tom Joyner is very much aware of traveling, you know, overseas because he's done it. Michael Baisden, I'm not so sure, but he used to advertise those cruises as well. And people forget that the cruise may not be off the chain, or adults. but it's the destination that you're going to. You're going to be there for a couple of days. That's how they kind of got away with it without sounding like you're kind of promoting that. Because what people do, where they go, I'm not on that. I'm on the cruise. I'm talking about the cruise, represented by Disney or represented by wherever you did it. But they knew what was going on. And now I'm gonna tell you that married couple thing you were talking about. I was not. That wasn't on my radar. And that's particular. That's horrifying. You know. And this is why, by the way, a lot of these dudes that want to be married and think they special little snowflakes and they want to, wag their finger at black men. This is why it's important for y'all to understand this. Because if your wife is going on girls trips, I mean, that should be on your representative. DJ Envy. It was just in the news that DJ Envy's wife is leaving for 3 weeks.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's in the news now. It's in the social media now.
She will be viciously and vigorously pounded out down there in the
island. She's going to the Caribbean. I think Jamaica specifically. So, and by the way, they also say Italy is Thailand for women across the board. That's another, and I've heard women say that. So, and that's also a part of the swirl tour. So again, I really don't care. I personally think all black people should get a passport. Really. Yep. As far as let me talk about the ladies that got some sense. Women like security boss and stuff like that. Right. Here's the deal. No matter a lot of this craziness is going on, if you're in what I call the 1 in 5, even though it's probably less now, but 20% of black women has got some, common sense and they operate at a certain thing, this stuff is not going to affect you anyway, because a lot of black men want to be with black women. So women like that, well, in the dating age range is going to get snatched up. Even women, a lot of dudes will make an excuse. A lot of dudes have a one-child policy. Depending on these are not on that. But like a lot of the day, if you act like but the thing is, this idea that you all can just corner the market now, that's over. And here's the thing. They're fighting it, but disease, I've said this for a long time now. Disease are not on the same stuff as the millennials. The millennials will talk to you. The younger millennials less so. Disease are not doing that.
Right.
Disease are not doing that. And I'll say this too. They keep worrying about passport bros. It will never be a whole bunch of to me it'll never be more than like 20% of black men that are really having a passport and consistently traveling is not the same thing. It's never now it will be maybe dudes that got a certain amount of income and that's where the threat is, but the biggest sexual threat, the biggest resource threat to black women when it comes to men is the women here. They are bringing in how many you're North Carolina just like me, increasing Hispanic population. They're bringing in how many Hispanics? This is political for different reasons, right? Different policies, Republicans for labor stuff, Democrats because they sanctuary city stuff. They are bringing in immigrants, Ukrainian immigrants now, and it's fine. I'm not against that, but it's the women that are coming in here that is going to flood you out, not women of going overseas. And that is the much more critical threat. Your sons marrying or these what they call them the prom pictures where ain't no black woman or one maybe mixed. That's disease. That's your issue. And I would tell a lot of black women, if you're really interested in your son providing you a grandchild, probably your best bet is introducing them to the diaspora. You want to, and there are some sisters that's gotten passports for their son. That's what you want to do. Imagine how they would be acting if we were talking about going to Europe. Most passport bros ain't even talking about Europe. We're talking about the diaspora and then Asia, which isn't the black diaspora. And they're already losing their crap. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy, man, to say the least, man. It's crazy, but it's even more crazier that, the shame, insult, and guilt, it don't work anymore. They go from calling women mammies to old folks.
They added
all
two
that
letters
shit
to it now.
What's
they
that?
They call it signal. I don't know what the A stands for, but the L stands for lies now. So that's how crazy. I got to find out what the A stands for. So it's shame, insult, guilt, the need to be right. It's one that stands for A, and then the L stands for lie.
Well, you know what? You created a term called mentally transmitted diseases. Before you go into it, Ingram Hotel, I know you want to say something. Shout out to Peachtree Ministry for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate it, brother. But go ahead, Ingram, and then I want you to talk about the mentally transmitted diseases. and how you've been changing the law in your mind. But go ahead, Ingram.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just to be quick about it, mentally transmitted diseases is pretty much it's kind of like people are on social media so much, and they get ideas of things they don't know. Think of ideas that they don't know. They get, like, for instance, because let's take women for example. Women see a lot of these guys on Instagram, and they actually start to believe that the average man is like an 8 or 9. The average man is 6 foot. The average man looks like whatever they see on social media, because obviously the algorithm is going to feed you what you engage with. And, you get a warped view of what's really out here in the real world, which is why you got women talking about you need to make 6 figures, you need to make $1 million. Like, you got women that they haven't even had sex with dudes that even approach that, but they're acting like you can have 3 kids and just demand that. And to me, that's a mentally transmitted disease. Same thing with dudes, just to be fair. You got dudes, the way they approach game, which is really, look, I don't have an issue with game itself. I have an issue the way black men approach it. Black men approach it as emotional labor for women. And it's really, part of game is about you accepting that if that woman doesn't like you, they don't like you, and you finding your niche. But no, a lot of dudes, what they want is they want that validation. To me, that's a mentally transmitted disease. Because when dudes gather around and start talking about that, it's kind of like a macro collection of BS that kind of builds on itself. To where you got dudes talking about experiences that they literally have never had, but they're trying to one up another dude. So and so then they start poo-pooing like dudes that travel. They're showing pictures of actual stuff they did, and you don't have dudes that can show the same thing domestically. Now they start making up, they're tricking, they're doing this, they're taking advantage of young women, which is a big one. Which the reality is, a lot of black men are less likely to do that because of the culture that we came up in.
Right.
So we're more likely to deal with somebody maybe our age, and a lot of black men are really, unfortunately, more comfortable with dealing with older women. There's a lot of dudes with mommy complex, Usher, just to, be an example. But anyway, go ahead, brother.
No, I appreciate it, but I totally agree with what you're saying. It's just for a lot of men, the shaming factor has no weight because the women themselves offer no incentive or no value. That's almost like the homeless dude at the bus shelter shaming you because your car has a little bit of rust on it when he doesn't have a car at all, or no way
Right.
to offer you any type of transportation. Right. So the homeless guy can't shame me about my ride. So neither can women from the community because they offer no value. And many of the simps, like you said, many of these guys that come into these spaces, and shame men, again, raised by these situations where they're raised in this matriarchal type culture. And they, like you said, they have a mommy's complex. And they think that caping for the community or virtue signaling is going to get them a pat on their head, or the women might sleep with them, or might build their channel or get them some clout in that matriarchal culture if they attack other men. And I think it's just sad because you're not offering any value to men, and it's never going to change, and it's never going to be any different. What I would say, I was disappointed that some of the brothers didn't support Austin Holloman because obviously he was slandered in a way that I think was terrible. Guys are too scared. It's a scarcity mindset that they take. You can't take that. You can go overseas and travel with respect, with dignity, treat people kind and respect, but walk in power as well. And many guys who go over there, if they don't develop themselves or have this honey hole mentality, I call them honey hole defenders, where some of them will roll another man under the bus because they haven't resolved some of their issues or their complexes here. These honey hole defenders are the ones that really roll Austin Holloman under the back. When the young man who's 23 years old did nothing wrong, you can't be scared. You could be respectful, respect the culture, respect people, but you understand that the ultimate principle for them is to break you, to make you weak, to separate you, to make you scared. I would tell them right off the bat, I'm a hardworking man. I'm honest. I haven't committed any crime. I'll travel. I'll do what I want to do within the law. And there's nothing that you people can say to me that's going to, and men got to be like that about they got to be indifferent in their masculinity and their manhood, because the people themselves don't care about you. They want to control you. They want to stop you. They want you to be a community eunuch. They want you to hand over your resource. They want you to go taking care of the kids in the community. They don't really want you living free. And anything they can do to undermine you or take out your legs, they're going to do it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, man. It appears that it's getting worse and worse and worse, man, as time go on. But, you know, you said something about how they do Austin on the bus, and I agree with you 100%. Some of these dudes,
defenders.
Yeah. Some of these dudes you got to watch out for, man. We talk about the women, but some of these dudes you really got to watch out for because they let ego get in the way, you know, and they'll let ego get in the way. But they'll talk about damn brotherhood, all for brotherhood, but it's situational brotherhood, and so you got to be careful. Sadly, Edward, I'm gonna end the stream in a minute. Ingram, thank you for coming on, man. But where do you see this thing going at, man? Where do you see it going at, Edward? As time continues to go on, is it going to be something that's going to continue to change the world, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's getting worse because they're getting more desperate, and eventually that's going to break. So I'm not even worried about that. Like, you know, people forget. You know, black men used to be in the church till they weren't. Mm-hmm. Black men used to be stepfathers till they didn't. And each of these things, it wasn't just black men went up and leave. Black men didn't just go get up and leave. With I call it the stepdaddy insurance program that happened in the 90s after all these, you know, folks that sold drugs that these women got with. And by the way, gassed a lot of these guys up to get into the drug business. Not taking that off of black men, but there was a lot of that going on. Shout out to BGS for talking about that. And then these dudes stepped up, quote unquote, stepped up and raised these kids. And then, quite frankly, didn't get no collective respect for it. And other people didn't want to play that game. We call it the circle of life. Black women will basically, not even black. I date black women, which is why I mentioned, you know, I date, you know, so, but women, and by the way, to be fair, white women, there's videos going around with white women wilding out too. Because white women have been dealing with the Asian problem with them and the white Hispanic problem, you know, with their own men. And so they've been, you know, Vancouver, like you know, so I always love when black people try to act like it's just a black problem, when in reality, this is a global situation. The white men have been traveling. That's why it's not as controversial. Mm-hmm. But as far as where it's going, the reality is what we're doing is going to set the tone. Remember, the Z's are like 24, 25. So in 3 or 4 years, they're going to occupy the prime dating market. And they're on some different stuff than what millennials are on. And then you have a lot of extras that are older that they're going to be, you know, retiring and doing whatever. And this stuff will get more normalized. I think this year in particular, everybody needs to interview. And obviously we need the truth. But everybody needs to interview guys, people that have on the ground experience, that as far as how much women travel, like where they're doing it, how they're doing it, not so much because we want to be in their business, but you have women that literally want, even Shay said she didn't know how elaborate it was. And a lot of us were used to it because it's the typical thing where women say what we saying, even though it's hypocrisy. But no, we're going to have to put it out there and let them know, like, y'all, if y'all going to go this crazy, understand y'all going to be put out there too. You know, and because y'all, I don't even care what they're doing. But, and then, I didn't even think about it with the buy stuff that y'all was talking about. I didn't even think about that. So again, you know, so I think they'll start backing down. Once it starts getting in the lexicon, how much women do it, then a lot of folks are not going to be as big on saying this stuff because they're going to look stupid, you know, because it's like you talk about a dude can't get sex here, but y'all can't even give the badge away. Like, which one is worse? Y'all can't even give it away. Y'all can't even deal with the young dude market here, so y'all go with these other dudes. And again, that passport projection is real because there's actually channels of women, decent women, that had fell in love with the first dude, tried to bring him back, had a kid, and then the dude just booked on them. These things happen to a lot of women, and some women do point it out. And so as far as the future, it's going to change the game because, again, black men have never exercised power dynamics. Right. But African-American men, and so without that, as remote work increases, as AI increases, as the economy is going to have more problems because now you have to be more of you either have to have a valued skill set or you have to be a producer. When I say producer, I mean you have to either be selling something or in that side of it. And the more that starts to get in balance as AI takes over, as jobs start to, you know, like lay off or reorganize in order for them to survive. As remote work is getting more accepted and normalized, men are going to do it. And I know what they're trying to do is to why they're being so hyperbolic right now. And then I'm done after this is they're trying to stop the dam from bursting. They're trying to scare the younger dudes. But here's the problem. Unlike, I get why different generations did this because it wasn't this bad. So let me say this. But millennials are not lying to the Z's. We're not. And the Z's are not lying to the alphas. Like, so all that, we're going to reset the clock and then dudes got to figure it out. That's not happening no more. I'm an options guy. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to say you need to leverage your job is to self-improve and put yourself in position to leverage as many options as you can. Be aware of what the environment is and extract the most value. As far as being community first, well, I look at the community like an insurance program. An insurance program depends on the pool of people to be in it, but the actual benefits of being in that program is up to what the group is going to give the individual. The problem is, I ask this, what benefit do black men get in the black community? Scratch that. What benefits do black boys get in the black community? If you can't answer that question, don't get mad if they go somewhere else. And now I'm done.
What starting a peaceful life and then to Abel. Where do we go from here? Starting a peaceful life.
So let me unmute myself. I think that really the biggest thing is I think where we go from here now, I mean, the market is global now. The dating and relationship market is global for men. And unfortunately, all the shaming language in the world, all the attempts to slander is just not going to work because they offer no incentive. And I think what inevitably is going to be happening is that the fundamental problem that we have is that the people that are trying to stop men from traveling are the very same people that are making this mainstream and are the very same people those men despise. The men that is working on this job, walking on eggshell, don't want to deal with that ball-busting broad that he has to work next to or in his relationships or in the community that don't want to deal with these radical feminist, crazy women or these unreasonable dating standards or these delusional women about their looks or their value to men or the women that offer no value to men, the women that are disrespectful, disloyal, are the same women making videos about passport bros, which is the greatest advertisement, the greatest shot in the foot to increase the movement because the men don't like these women. So imagine a radical ball-busting feminist projecting all on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. All you're doing is recruiting more men, making travel bros mainstream, and it's just going to, I see it, right, to be honest with you, it's over, man. Guys are just going to go for the better value.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave it at that, brother.
I agree. And, they did a study saying that a lot of the newer generation, the Alpha Z, they don't even want to work. Where do we go from here, Edward Anderson?
We run like the Flash. It's like a door. Them big old doors that you got to really pull it to open it. But once you get the momentum, that's what we need to do. And what I would tell the other brothers that really want to talk crap about passport bros, first of all, if you got women that you care about, if they act right, they're gonna get results. I mean, don't even talk to me. I'm gonna keep it real with you. My policy is I tell black women, if black men ain't crap, date out. If you can do better outside the race, go for it. Go for it. If you can get like Tasha K, I believe has a Nigerian husband. So ain't nobody poo-pooing any of that. Do what you gotta do. So what are we really talking about? But as far as the men, the more dudes that leave, because all these dudes are lame, they can't get sex, they're cool. All are simps. All these dudes, the more dudes that leave, the more women there is for you. Since everything's so great.
Right.
Yeah, so either way, the power dynamic actually affects, sorry about that, that's part of my thing. The power dynamics don't just affect black men that go abroad, because I'm more of a stay in the United States and travel person, not necessarily expatriation, but those brothers are very important because as you build networks in those locations, they're there. So they should definitely be supported. But the power dynamics is not for dudes to choose to go abroad; it's for dudes to stay here as well. And my question is, why are you so scared of a power dynamic change? But anyway, so dudes should run with it. Dudes should support dudes. I tell dudes to actually travel, take pictures, not just of the women, take pictures of the environment, the scenery. Dudes can't travel right now for various reasons. And, you know, the biggest thing I want black men to do is a lot of black men are not inspired. They're not. This is one of these things they can actually aim at and inspire to do that hopefully will get them, you know, the skills and not just, you know, the economic skills, whatever they need in order to, you know, have a better quality of life. And the same thing with the women too. Like, you know, most of the passport infrastructure is really built around the women. Most of the websites and all of that, there's passport channels with black couples. There's passport channels of a lot of different stuff. There's dudes that are not associated with Passport Bro. Shout out to Minority Nomad. Shout out to Passport Kings. Right. Shout out to Passport Heavy. Mm-hmm. You know, where the host of that show is a black woman. Mm-hmm. You know, so. But yeah, black men need to run through this. They need to push as hard as they can, as fast as they can. You only live once, and a lot of brothers that are older, I mean, y'all don't want to be regretting stuff. Y'all only live once.
No, you're right, man. And sadly, man, all this infighting and foolishness going on in this space is crazy to say the least. You know, I always tell people I affiliate with the manosphere. I don't know if I am or not. I just affiliate because I just heard something about Dennis say he was leaving. I don't even know what that's about. but
we're all our own creators. But at the end of the day, we're all black men. I mean, whether people are there's no card carrying manosphere people where I can't come on this because you're not certified. It ain't like that. And like I say, be your own person. At the end of even with the lead attorney, I always say a lot of people kind of fall under his umbrella. You know, a lot of the newer folks, and they kind of the professional guys on stuff. So at the end of the day, it's not no car affiliating stuff. I mean, it's always clusters and pockets and people.
Pockets, right.
Right. And it's like office politics where, you know, you have clusters of people within a corporate organization.
I agree.
It's fine.
No, I totally agree. Well, listen, I know you got a stream, man. Thank you for tuning in, Edward. I appreciate it, brother. And you always add clarity and insight. I'm going to play some of that show we had about 2 weeks ago at some point tomorrow. You did a good job breaking that down with Bianca Williams. I had known about her, but I just didn't, I didn't go in depth about the book. I knew that female sex tourism was real, but sadly, these clowns that go across the internet sip surfing, they don't call those women out, but they got animus towards you and everybody else, which is weird. You're not doing nothing to them. You ain't disrespecting them, but it's just weird that people want to keep their foot on the necks of black men. It's extremely weird to me, man. But actually, it's not weird. It's they want you to be a rat. They want you for resources, attention, time, security, and settlement. And they want black men to be rats. And it is what it is. I just laugh at it, man. It's funny to me. I just laugh at it. But I'm proud of you, young man. You keep doing what you do, man. And I will be talking in the future, brother. Be good.
Appreciate it, Pete. Right. Appreciate it, Pete, for life. Great soon.
No doubt. All right, brother. All right. All right, guys, we're about to sign off in a minute. I appreciate you guys tuning in on tonight. Do me a favor, guys. Get the likes up because the robot said he got bills to pay. So get the likes up, guys. If you have donate to the channel. But thank you guys for tuning in. You guys were awesome tonight. I think this was a great show. And once again, guys, get the likes up.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Nah, I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me, but baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. Whatever, and I would never. Yeah. You've been flexing everywhere, girl. Look in the mirror, man. You so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me. But baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. If I control the weather, then every day would rain on your parade. Shine, you can't share things, yeah. If I was Father Time, then I would change the day. So I never saw your face. What do I have to do to make you go? Oh, baby, it's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. Yeah.
tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby little more just to spend it, and I'm always on go, I don't hesitate. Used to always know I make it, yeah. I'll be me until I'm in the grave, yeah. See my record, had to set it straight, yeah. I make to kill like 10 times 10. I got wires coming in, some in euros, some in sec, some in dollars, some in yen. I've been trying to keep my zen, keep my cool. Trying to keep the family fed, get my food. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. Did it, do it. I did it all, no gimmicks. I did it all, no fibbits. Now I got all these children, now I got all these clones. Now I got all you twinning, now I got all you thinking like all you winning. They tried to count me out, they tried to fill that doubt. They tried to ride my wig, they tried to knock me out. They tried to count my wins, they tried to show my L's. They tried to make me in, they tried, but where they now? Where they? Step in the spot and they stare at me. All of these battles will bear me. I swear that nothing compares to me. Feeling blessed, I won't stress. Beat the odds, you know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend.
Fire for your mind. Culture, cognition,